recording this event. Um, we may at any point use the clips from this video for promotional services. And if you're nervous about being on film, block out the camera option and you can just put up a photograph or a still image um, of yourself in place of the video. So, Robert, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, welcome, welcome. So, welcome everybody to Move Abroad and Thrive. Tonight, I have my guest here, Mr. Robert Ferrell from Texas. Not going to hold that against him. And but we have him here. He's been living in Merida for about 2.5 years now. We got here practically about the same time.
Yeah.
He's thriving. He's enjoying the community. He's here with his wife and his brother-in-law as well. They're making big things happen. And if you've seen previous interviews, you already have an idea of who he is. And so right now, I'm just going to just talk to him briefly, get some basic information about his life over the last couple of months, over the last couple of years. And then we're going to open up the platform for you all to ask questions and to Robert directly. So how's things been going, Robert?
It's been going pretty good, man. No complaints.
No complaints. So you've been here now, what, right at 2 years or 2.5 years?
It was 2 years in June.
Mhm.
And so, we 2 years, 3 months, something like that.
Okay. So how have you been adjusting? And I know we talk a lot already in between, but what is life like for you now versus, let's just say, just a year ago?
Uh, well, a year ago, we were just moving into this rental, and my wife wouldn't stop looking for houses. So I was like, honey, will you please just settle down and let's just live here for now? But, she wouldn't do that. So now I'm ready to, get the house and move in that. And, so I'm in that holding, in that holding zone or that no man's land kind of thing where you in between this place and that place, you're ready to go, but it ain't ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just stuff.
Okay.
And, every day we seem to be discovering new stuff still, like that beach we just discovered.
Mm-hmm.
And, it just loving it.
Absolutely. Now, 2 years ago, prior to moving here, what were you doing lifestyle wise? What were you doing in Texas, and what made you decide you wanted to leave Texas and come to Mexico?
Okay, let me see, we moved in 21. In 2020, we came here a month before Thanksgiving, and we came here to stay for a month to see if we could actually, handle living here. It was a test run for us, I called it. Even though we had been here numerous amount of times, we never stayed no more than 2 weeks. So this time we were staying for a month, and we was trying to see if we could actually, do it. And, everything went pretty good, but I still wasn't sure. And then on Thanksgiving morning, I woke up and I said, honey, we can do it, and I know how we can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And, from there, I gave her the plan of what we could do to get down here. And then we just started, putting that plan together. And part of that plan included selling our house and pretty much burning our bridge, Okay, we got to echo.
Me block everybody. All right, that should okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, we pretty much burnt our bridge by selling the house, and then we just came down here. We drove down here, packed the car up. I mean, we stuffed it, and we kept everything in our car until we found an apartment, and then we put everything in that apartment. Then we drove back, and then we finished closing the house, selling it, and then my wife and my brother-in-law flew down, and a couple of weeks later, I drove back down with the car packed full of more stuff, and then that was it. And from that time, I didn't go back to Dallas until this past June, which was over 2 years.
Wow. So what was it like going back for the first time after being here for 2 years?
Man, when I was going back, I recorded myself on the airplane, and I went and looked at it a couple of days ago, and I was like, man, I was sad, kind of depressed sounding. And that's pretty much the way I felt. I really didn't want to go. I mean, I wanted to see my family and all of that, but I really didn't want to go. And then when I got there, you know how, you may not know how big DFW is, but DFW is huge and very confusing. So I got in a rental car. I didn't know how to get out of the airport. I couldn't get the GPS to work inside the car. And it was just all confusing. I called my daughter and she helped me get through it. And finally, I got out of the airport. And, you know, I was just kind of feeling all. Then I got on the highway. Luckily, it was a Sunday. I got on the highway and all those lanes, I mean, like 6 lanes on each side on 635. And you got the tollway and the non-tollway and to go under and to go on top. And it was kind of overwhelming. And then about the second or third day, I kind of started settling in and getting comfortable with it. And, you know, walking around the neighborhoods and seeing how clean and nice and neat and manicured everything was, I was like, I wonder how am I going to feel when I get back? Am I going to want to come back to Dallas? I mean, I really didn't know. But as soon as I got back to Merida, I was glad to be back. And none of that really played into effect. I put my Mexican eyes back on and I was right back at home. And it just let me know that, again, that this really is home.
This is home. So the challenge I have with people is convincing them that this type of lifestyle is real and that it could possibly be real for them. That they can relax, cost of living is significantly less. They can cut their expenses probably by 50, 75%. And then just enjoy an overall quality of life. What would you say to those folks who still find this hard to believe that it's as simple as just leaving and just relocating to another part of the world?
You know, this is a conversation. It seems like every time we get together with 2 or more people, we have this conversation because it's hard to believe that this is actually our life. You know, when we were sitting out there in the ocean talking, that's mainly what we were talking about. And we were talking with Angel, and Angel was telling us what his monthly expenses was. And he laid out some expenses. He said, y'all not going to believe me when I tell you. I said, okay, go ahead and tell us. Just tell us what it is. And when he told us, he was right. It's unimaginable how low his expenses was. So, you know, I don't want to tell his business. I don't know if it's okay for you to tell it, but I'm not going to tell it. But you know,
if we just say it was an insane.
It's crazy insane, not just insane, crazy insane. It was cheaper than your. Let me hush. That's gonna be telling it. But anyway, it was really, 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 really low.
So,
but his house is paid for, his cars are paid for, you know. So
exactly,
that makes a big difference.
And so, essentially, what Robert is talking about, Angel, his philosophy was, if I can get here, buy a house, and have it paid off, that way I have no mortgage and no rent payment. If I can get solar installed on my house, I'll have a zero electric bill. Because his house runs on well water, he has no water bill. Trash bill, people come to your house 3 times a week, pick up the trash, cost only about $25 per year. And so his goal, not even that. So his goal was to really make his monthly expenses as cheap as possible. And essentially, I mean, shoots, man, he really don't have no bills other than just groceries. You know what I mean?
Really, that's pretty much it. And I told him that what he has done is what I'm trying to do. Yeah, because he has the solar panels, he has the well for his water. I mean, hot water heater is on electric, so that's used by solar panels. And the only thing he's using with gas is pretty much his for cooking.
For cooking, absolutely.
So, and he say he fill up his gas tank probably about, what do you say, 3 times a year?
Yeah, about every 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. So
it's
it's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy insane.
Yeah.
And Robert, as Robert said, he's attempting to do the same thing. Angel has this mindset that, in his mind, he's like, man, he has a wife and he has a daughter who's about 16 years old.
Yeah.
In his mind, he feels that he's not going to be around forever. And he wanted to be in a position that when he died, they won't have to be worried about paying any type of rent or mortgage or paying any bills. The only thing they need to pay is food. So just like in the States, you might own your house, but you might have property taxes that might be $5,000 or $6,000 a year, which comes out to about $500 a month. And if you don't have any income coming in, they'll take your house if you can't pay the taxes on it.
Yeah.
So here, the taxes is something like $500 per year for foreigners. But, so that's his mindset. And so when Angel started explaining his thought process, it was like, that makes sense, because if I'm on a fixed income, if I can keep my expenses as low as possible, it will allow me the opportunity to live and thrive and not be worried about inflation or anything like that, or the dollar or the peso changing and your rent or mortgage going up and down. So we learned a lot from Angel. A lot.
We did.
So you're so y'all bought a house. It's currently being renovated. And when do y'all anticipate being able to move in?
Hopefully things will be ready by January.
Mm-hmm.
And we have time because we have a lease on the place we're renting till June. So, okay. But I hope it's ready in January.
You ready to get in?
I'm ready to get in. I'm ready to settle my life down,
Yeah. Was it stressful looking for a house in terms of the home buying process? Was that pretty challenging or difficult?
Look here, I was sick and tired of looking at houses, okay? Every house we looked at was disappointing. Mm-hmm. And so it got to the point where I told my wife, you just look for a house, and when you find one that you think I may like, okay, then I'll go look for one. Until then, don't bother me. I was sick of it.
Wow. So she found one, and I imagine happy. You're ecstatic about that.
Oh yeah. I mean, and she finally put her foot down. She had these 2 houses. One of them was a flat and had solar panels and everything on it. And then the other one was the one I told my wife, I said, if we was really smart, and she showed me this house, and I kind of liked it, but I kind of didn't like it. And I told her, I said, if we were smart, this house right here would be the smart house to buy. I said, but for some reason, I'm not just head over heels over it. Mm-hmm. And then she finally put her foot down. She said, okay, we either buying this house. No, she said, we buying this house. And it was the flat. Mm-hmm. So I went and looked at the flat again. And I said, honey, I'm sorry. I didn't come down here to buy a house and not have an outdoor space. I mean, it had a pool and it had a yard, but by the time we would have fixed it the way we liked it, we wouldn't have had a patio. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not moving to Mexico and all this heat and all this outdoor living and not have a patio. So that's when I went back to the other house that I said, if we were smart, we would buy it. Mm-hmm. And that's the one we end up picking.
Nice. All right. So you're, in terms of, on a scale of 1 through 10, your choice in making a decision to move to Mexico, where would you put that on a scale of 1 to 10? Completely happy, halfway happy, miss home?
I'm completely happy, man. It's in life, we have these dreams and we have these expectations, and a lot of time we just hope that we can hit those expectations or hope we can have those dreams.
Hmm.
but we never really think that we can exceed those dreams.
Hmm.
Moving to Mexico has been one of those decisions that has exceeded what I expected from Mexico. It's hard to believe, and when I say it's this good, y'all, it's not like it's not like it's oh man, I don't even know how to put it, but it's not like we doing something super great here every day. We just living our life, you know. But the stress is gone.
Yeah.
You know, I used to snore. I mean, I used to snore. Okay. And in fact, they made a little video about me snoring. They said I sound like a moose. But moving here, now my wife said I don't snore anymore. So
Mm.
I was talking to one of my friends who's a doctor, and he said it was because of stress. So I
Wow.
have to believe him because I didn't do anything different, you know.
Hmm.
So, but I know she's loving it, and I am too because now, you know, I wake up and she's next to me, not in the living room somewhere.
How is your Spanish?
Poquito. I don't know a whole lot of Spanish, guys. I wish I did. I was taking a class from a teacher that you recommended,
Hmm.
and I just wouldn't study because as strong as my interest is to learn Spanish, my interest to study Spanish is not there. And so but I'm picking up a few words here and there that I know, you know. Uh
Hmm.
and you know, every now and then when I hear people saying stuff, I mean, because I still remember some of the stuff from my class that I took,
Hmm.
but I just don't like studying Spanish. I wish I did. And one of
Yeah.
these days maybe I will, but I just haven't got there yet.
And the reason I asked you that question was really just to lead into this next question. Do
Mhm.
you find so this quality of life that you've been talking about for the last few minutes? Do you find that you're able to get by and do the things you need with the very limited Spanish that you know? Is this holding you back in any way from enjoying yourself here?
It don't hold me back from enjoying myself. Uh, I do get frustrated sometimes, but here's where my frustration is. It's not in my everyday life. My biggest frustration is at church. It's
Hmm.
because I'm going to a dual language church, and the person that's doing the translating won't talk as loud as the person that's doing the talking.
Hmm.
So that's my biggest frustration. Other than that, in everyday life, I don't really have a problem because
Hmm.
you slow down. And when
Yeah.
you slow down, you use the translator or something and you find a way to figure out what they're saying. So it's not like your life is in a big rush anymore to have to find things or find out things, because if you don't get it today, you'll get it tomorrow or the next day. So it keeps you that keeps me from being so frustrated.
Mm. Wow. 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 All right. I love it. I love it. Just one more thing, and then we're gonna open this thing up. I know a lot of people. I know you do day trading, and you know one of the things in order to be able to enjoy the quality of life here is having some source of income, whether it's retirement income, income from a business, income from doing remote work. And in your case, you derive your income through day trading. How is how does day trading work? I guess in a nutshell, and is this a skill that people can learn to support themselves while living abroad?
Uh, there's, there's numerous ways to day trade, and a whole lot of people do it in all kinds of ways. But the way that I do it, I just, try to make a very minimal amount of money,
Hmm.
and uh, I trade with options. Okay, and options are a time. It doesn't hold value. It loses value over time, and when you get down to the last day or so, it really loses value very fast. So instead of trying to pick a direction of which way the stock is going, and I use that a little bit, but mostly what I use to make my money is what they call time decay. I'm just waiting for the asset to lose its value over time.
Mm-hmm.
I get in it on the last day, and one thing I know for sure, if it doesn't hit my price, it's going to zero. And I just use uh, the fact that it's going to lose value over time as a way to make profit. And I'm not trying to, knock it out the park here. I'm just trying to put contact on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're only trying to make anywhere between about a half to 1% a day, you don't have to do much.
Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. I love it. I love it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this queue for you all to ask questions. In the middle of the screen at the bottom, you will see an icon that looks like this. It's in the shape of a hand. Just click on that hand. It'll throw you into the queue, and then we'll call on you to be able to ask questions. And the first one up is Giselle. Go ahead.
Okay. What was the process in buying your home, and do I have to have my residency to buy a home in Mexico?
I'm not sure if you have to have your residency or not, but I think you do have to have a RFC number.
Yeah.
And for us, I mean, it's not like I know everything you have to do, because I don't, but I can just tell you some of the stuff that we went through. First, you have to find a place, and you can use a real estate agent, which is what my wife used, a real estate agent, and she looked at a lot of places on Facebook. We actually found our house through Facebook Marketplace, and then we called the number and got the agent. And even when we were using real estate agents, they're only going to show you the houses that they're going to make commission on. So we didn't just use one agent, we used multiple agents. And then once we found the house, the people that we used to process it all out and help us buy it and all that kind of stuff is a company called Easy Legal. They were really good with us. They helped us. They helped us to avoid making a big mistake on one purchase, and then they help us to get this house done. And the Mexican laws are set up a little bit different than the U.S. And one of the major differences that I had a problem with was, instead of putting that money in escrow, you giving that deposit to the owner of that house. I kind of had a problem with that. And, my attorney had to kind of walk me back off the edge from that. And finally, they agreed to at least let us have a key while they are holding our deposit. So, it's some things that you have to kind of give in on when you used to doing things a certain way in the US. You have to kind of come into doing things the way they do it in Mexico, or negotiate somewhere in the middle. That's kind of what I did.
Okay, sounds good. Now you mentioned the RFC number. How do you go about getting that?
Whoa. Let me see here. Out of all the things you could ask me, that's one of the things that I didn't put down. One of the ways you can go about getting it is, I use this company called Easy Legal. Your attorneys and all them, they can help you set it up. Of course, they're going to charge you for it. And but we didn't go through them. We end up, my wife, she's very let's see, what is she? She's very resourceful. And so she figured out how to do it herself. The problem with it is, if you don't speak Spanish, it can be very complicated. We end up driving down to another city, and they had this building with these thick walls. And when we got in there, my phone service didn't work. So I was lost without my translator. But some kind of way we managed to go through it. But you can take someone with you to this place. And I can't remember the name of this place for nothing right now. Maybe someone on here can tell you where you go and how you set up an appointment to get to RFC. But if you don't know, you can always go to an attorney.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Perfect.
One more. What does the transaction of buying your home need to be paid in a certain kind of way, or do you pay in pesos? You know?
It depends on what you set up with the person that you're buying from. For instance, if you bought your house from someone from the US, they probably would gladly accept the dollar. But if you buy your house from someone from Mexico, more than likely they're going to want pesos. And unfortunately, I wish we could have bought this house last year when the peso was around 20, but we ended up buying when the peso was around 18 or something like that. But no control over that. So, but when you buy from, if you was in the US, would you want pesos? So they're in Mexico, they don't want dollars. Especially when the dollar is low.
Oh, okay. Because the reason she was asked is because she wanted to know if you could you want to use a card versus pesos. If they're allowed to use your card versus pesos.
Your card? What card?
Like a debit card. I guess.
You can only take so much off a debit card at one time. And houses they're up there. So unless you're taking something off your debit card daily, you're probably going to have to do a wire or a transfer or something like that.
Okay.
All right. So I'm on a break. I'm gonna jump on to the next person. If y'all throw your hand back up again, and it would throw you back into the queue and ask some more. Devon Wright, you go ahead. Can you hear me, Devon? You might have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm sorry, I was talking on mute.
Oh, that's all right. You good? How you doing?
What's going on there, Devon?
Good. I'm good. Thank you guys for everything. I love all the interviews and everything. But the first person actually kind of asked a lot of my questions. But I wanted to kind of bounce off of that question as far as how did you pay for this house? Was it by a loan? Did you use a bank? Do you have a mortgage? What does that look like?
To get financing in Mexico, if you could get financing, you're looking at probably 10, 15, maybe even 20%. I don't have enough credit to get enough to purchase a house here in Mexico. And even if I could, I wouldn't want to pay that kind of interest rate. So, or maybe, some people maybe get some kind of home equity line of credit or home loan in the US and then come down here and pay for it, that kind of way. But, it just depends on you. And then some people pay cash.
I got it. I'm it's the VIP member, so I'm trying to get a little personal. How did you do it?
We just bought it.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you. I think that was it.
Okay.
Me and my wife is actually planning on moving to Merida the mid next year. We already have our temporary residency appointment and everything, and I'm definitely interested in getting your course for trading. So we'll definitely see each other again. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. And just to piggyback off of some of the stuff that Robert was already sharing, as he said, getting loans here as a foreigner is pretty challenging. And if you were to get it, like he said, the interest rates here are just ridiculous, 20 and 30%. So most foreigners that are coming here typically have to provide their own financing, whether that be in the form of cash, just outright buying the house, or getting some type of line of credit from their bank back in the States. So those are the primary ways that most people are buying their own houses out here. very, very, very few people get financing. And just to kind of give you an idea, there was a builder here that was willing to finance, and he was trying to get me for 35%. And so, like I say, it's insane. And ironically, Mexicans here, they tend to pay for their house outright. Like it used to be back in the States. Back in the day, folks saved their money and they bought the house outright. And the unique thing here, the family members tend to pass the house on to the children, and it continues on down the family line. And so it's not unusual for a 30-year-old, like one of the attorneys that I deal with, she's 27 years old. She has a house a few feet from the beach, which belonged to her grandmother, who had initially gave it to her mother, and then the mother gave it to the daughter, who's now 27, owns a house in Progreso and owns a house in Merida. So, but yeah, so just wanted to clarify that. Heather Pilgrim, you're up next.
Yes, thank you. Just one question.
Sure.
Okay.
And this has to do with renting. When you rent a place, let's say you have to put a few months down in deposit, do folks ever get their deposits back?
Hey, Heather, that's a really good question. I'm in my second rental, and the first place we rented was an apartment. We got part of our deposit back, but she didn't give it all back to us. She came up with some pretty lame excuses to keep probably half of it. But I was just kind of happy to get that, I guess, because when we first went in it, listening to what people had to say, I wasn't expecting to get anything back. And we're probably going to leave this place here before our lease is up. At least that's the plan. And I'm not looking to get anything back from this one either, to be honest with you.
Okay. That's kind of what I suspected, but I just wanted to ask. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I will add that from my experience, the people that are renting higher end homes, for the most part, they tend to get their deposits back.
Okay.
Now, many people may leave or break the lease early. And of course, when they do, they will lose a deposit. But generally, most contracts will say if you leave early, they will give you one of the deposits back. So that's typically in most of the contracts here. So you don't necessarily lose both deposits if you leave early. You'll typically lose one. But I do find that the higher range rentals tend to their deposits back versus the lower end of the monthly rental rate.
Let me add this too, right quick, Cortez. When we did leave that first place, we didn't pay our last month's rent. So the deposit that we got back half of was, you pay your first month, your last month, and then you pay a deposit, then you have to pay the attorney deal. So only thing that we didn't get back was of course, we didn't get the attorney money back, but we only got back half of that. I guess that's the second deposit or something like that, or the third deposit or whatever it is. But, that was expected for me.
Okay, thank you. So I'm assuming from listening to Cortez that be prepared to put down 4 times as much as what the rent is, and don't hold your breath.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
About 3.5 to 4 times, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Arlene, you are up next. Arlene, you might have to hit the unmute button. Yep, can hear you now.
Okay. Hey, Cortez.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you, Robert, for your time tonight.
Thank you. How you doing?
I have a question. It's to my understanding that you've taken the drive from Texas to Merida several times.
Twice.
Twice. For me, like, I don't mind giving away furniture, but I just bought a car and I don't feel like I want to give that away to anybody. So can you take us through from crossing the border, if there was any difficulties, the kind of the route that you took, if you feel like it was safe, along the way, was it hotels, gas? And if you do feel it's safe, do you feel like you would trust your wife and your daughter to take the trip without you?
I do feel like it's safe. And I mean, yeah, I guess I would. That's kind of tough. Would I trust my wife and daughter to take that trip? I guess I would. But I wouldn't really want my wife to drive across the country in the U.S. So it's kind of, that's not, almost not a fair question. But
okay. So the
I
route that
feel
you
like
took, can you kind of give us like just a visual or just, you know, what route did you take? Do you feel like it was like safe? At any point, did you feel like you maybe should be cautious? Were there hotels or lots of gas and food along the way? What can we expect for the ones who are wanting to drive there instead of, because to ship things, I've gotten quotes that were like anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000. That's a lot. So some of us are like driving. So can you just kind of share with me what your experience was?
I'm gonna break it down for you.
Okay, thank you.
It was one lady that asked me this question about the beginning of the year, and I gave her account of what I done, and then Cortez told me that she made it safe with no problem. So this is the route that I took. I came in through Laredo, and which is 35. I crossed early in the morning, and I drove from Laredo the first day, early in the morning, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. I drove from Laredo to St. Louis Potosi. I would stay there at night. I would only drive during the daytime, and I would stay on the toll road. I woke up the next day, and I drove from St. Louis Potosi to Veracruz. Same thing. Stayed there overnight. Didn't drive at night. If I did, it was barely getting dark. And then I woke up the next day, and I drove from Veracruz to Merida. I stayed on the toll road. There were some times coming back when we got off the toll road. I didn't feel any safety issues as far as being harmed to me. But when I got off the toll road, to save 15 or 20 minutes, because we was in a long traffic line, the roads were beyond rough, okay? Felt like I needed a 4-wheel drive to get through it. So I strongly recommend, no matter how tough the traffic is, stay on the toll road. And then the hotels that I stayed in Veracruz, the hotel that I stayed in was called the One Hotel. Okay, they have security. We parked our car in the back. I left all of my luggage stacked on top of the car, on a car rack. All my luggage packed in the car except for what I need to, sleep, wake up, get dressed, and get back in the car. Okay, in Veracruz, I stayed in 2 hotels, but I can't remember one of them. But the other one we stayed in was called, hold on, let me find it here, City Express Hotels. And both of these are chain hotels, okay? So they're easy to find. They're pretty clean. Both of them had breakfast in the morning time that came with it. They had free parking. So I would eat breakfast, get on the road, and go. You must have cash, and cash is in pesos. I'm not talking about US dollars, but you can get all the cash you need in Laredo. The toll roads are somewhere like equivalent of $10. So take you some serious cash. You might want to take, because you got 3 days of travel and a whole bunch of toll booths to go through. So, and a lot of the places that you might want to eat, they may not take credit cards. And if they do take credit card, the exchange rate is going to be horrible compared to what you would get if you were paying in pesos. So take enough cash to travel with cash. Let me see here. There's one part between, I think it's between San Luis Potosi and Veracruz. You definitely do not want to drive at night because you have to go up in the mountains and it gets very foggy early in the evening time, and it's foggy early in the morning time. So you kind of want to wait till that burn off because you cannot see. The roads are extremely dark. But safety wise, yeah, it's safe. I didn't have no fear, no problem, no nothing with that. And you don't have to worry about a whole lot of speed traps because here they don't really have to stop you from speeding so much because these tow pits that they have in the road, if you don't slow down, you're gonna ruin your car. So they don't really have to worry about it trying to catch you speeding. But that's about it.
Okay.
Oh, I will say this other thing. You do need insurance. You need Mexico insurance. And you can get Mexico insurance at the border where you get your passport stamped. Or you can get it from, hold on, let me find it here. Mexinsurance.com. Okay. And then also you're going to have, just like you have to get your passport stamp, you also have to get your car registered some kind of way here. And you can do all of that at the border. It's not exactly at the border, but once you cross the border, it's a place where you have to go to get your passport stamp. So you can do that there. And then the other thing, there's a fee, small fee, I can't remember how much it was, less than $20 to cross the US border, to go out of the, I think it's to go out of the country and then to come into the country. I can't remember if it was both or one or the other, but it's less than $20. And cash is, oh man.
Okay.
Have cash in pesos.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you had to put a number on cash on how much from Laredo to Merida, if you had to put a number on that in terms of US dollars, how much, I know it's exchanging it into pesos, but how much would you say a person would need to have?
Because you're gonna be I would say about $1,000 because you're gonna need gas, hotels I pay for in cash, eating I pay for in cash, paying for the tow booth in cash. So I would say at least $1,000 probably.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Jennifer, you're up next. Jennifer, you might have to hit the unmute button.
Hi guys, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Hey
ma'am.
Jennifer, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Great.
Okay. I wanted to know if Angel said anything about any other processes that the water from the well needs to go through to be safe to drink, or is it safe to drink?
No water is safe to drink here unless you get filtered water.
Okay, so you have to have a filtration system already, or?
Well, whether you get city water or you have well water, you buy your bottled water to drink. They have big 5-gallon bottles that you can buy, have delivered, or go purchase at a lot of different stores, or you can go to these places and have them refilled. But very few people have the filtration system on their houses. Some people do, but most of them don't.
Okay. Another thing is I'm going to be leaving from St. Louis, and my original plan was to drive my stuff to El Paso, Texas, and put it in the storage bin and then go, across the border. So do you think now that I've heard you talk, I should get a storage bin in Laredo so that I can follow the route that you recommended?
Are you talking about driving here?
Yes.
I went through Laredo, and I mean, that's the route that I recommend taking. That's the one I know about.
Okay. All righty. And also, your web address for your day trading training.
Slowlifetrading.com.
Okay. And it's traditional slow, SLOW, not just SLO?
Yes, SLOW.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Slowlifetrading.com.
Okay. Slowlifetrading.com. Okay. That's it for me.
All righty. Thank you.
And I put the website in the comment section. You should be able to see it there as well. I also included the insurance company inside the chat box as well, link to the website. And also at the end, within 24 hours, once this is over, the recording will be uploaded, and all the resources that Robert has shared and other resources from other members that are posting in the comments, I'm going to add that to the members area of the site in the document file, so everything is in one place. And also I want to add, I probably met probably about 30 women who have made the drive from the United States to Merida. And all of them have all pretty much said the same thing. They never felt unsafe. They did pretty much the same thing Robert said. They drove in the daytime, got off the roads at night, stayed in particular hotels. And most of the women that drove here, half of them were driving down just with themselves and their children. So none of them seem to feel unsafe, and some have drove back more than once. And so it seems to be that you stick to the plan. For the most part, you won't have any issues for the most part. Let's see here, Verna, you are up next.
All right. Hello, everyone.
How are you doing?
Thank you, Robert, for coming on and answering our questions. My first question was pretty much covered with Arlene, but I will say this. Do you know if there is a certain age that cars need to be before you can drive them into Mexico? For example, I have a 2008, which she's getting old now. Will she be too old to drive in?
She is not too old to drive in. I drove in a 2006, but you won't be able to keep it here longer than whatever your residence card go for.
Okay.
Like for instance, we got a 4-year temporary resident. In 4 years, I had to register my car for the same amount of time that I had. So in 4 years, I'm gonna have to either sell it to someone else that's not a resident here, only a temporary resident here, or send it back, or pretty much what I'm gonna do is just sell it to the salvage yard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, you mentioned about your home, you were redoing your home, and you're going to have some solar panels. So solar panels, does it have to be totally solar, or can it be something like partial solar to maybe the AC runs on solar and everything else is electric? Can it be partial in that way?
Okay, that's a very good question. I don't know a whole lot about solar panels because I haven't had them to experience that yet. But from what I gather, you hook your house up to solar, but it's gonna be both. If you can produce enough solar energy, then you'll use all your solar energy. But if you can't, you use some energy from the power company. So it's kind of, when you say that, Cortez, it's kind of both.
Yeah, I would say, and unfortunately, I don't know much more either. However, we will have Angel on to do a live, and he will probably be able to answer that question better.
Okay. So right now, I'll just take it as everything you have in solar is used, and when that's run out, it goes on to electricity.
That's the way I think it is.
Yeah.
All right. So 2 more questions here. Do you have a Mexican bank account, and do you need a residency to have this?
When we first opened up our bank account, let me think. When we opened up our bank account, we had a residency. I think some banks, I do have a bank account, first of all. I think some banks require it, and then some banks don't. They've tightened up the rules a little bit more since we've been here. And it's hard to find one where you don't have a residency now. But if you're gonna be here past 6 months, you want to get a residency, because leaving the country every 6 months, like we were planning on doing when we first got here, they tightened up on that rule as well. So sometime when you come down here, they didn't want to give you 6 months. I will tell you guys another little loophole that we was able to go through, and I don't know if it's still there or not, but when we got our residency, we had been to Mexico multiple times. So we didn't have to go through the traditional way where you had to do part of it in the States and part of it here. We done everything here, and they gave us, I guess they gave us a pass because we had been here multiple times. So, and not just in Merida, in the state, in the country of Mexico. And my brother-in-law, who hadn't been here nothing but twice, they even gave it to him as well. So I think the minimum at that time, I don't know if this is still going on or not, but the minimum at that time was to be to visit the country twice.
Twice within a year?
Twice, period, far as I know of.
Oh, okay. So then the last question is, with your trading, I guess this is called day trading. So my question would be, what is the smallest amount you've made in a day? And then also, what is the biggest amount that you've made in a day through trading?
The largest amount that I've made in a day is probably about $3 grand. And the smallest amount, when you count winning, is probably about $2 or $3.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just happy to get out with a win.
There you go. All right. Thank you. That's all I got.
All righty.
Thank you, Verna. I'm going to read a couple of comments. A young lady here by the name of Liza, or Liza, I hope I'm saying it right. She provided some information here, and I'm assuming this relates to driving from the States into Mexico. You have to get a tip, a TIP for the car.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Basically an FMM visa for your vehicle, and it has to be turned in timely or the fine is very costly. Also, you can only have it in Mexico as long as you are a temporary resident. If
That's
you
correct.
become a permanent resident, the car will be illegal. I guess she's saying it costs like 14,000 pesos for one friend's car that got impounded. Would you like to come on and share some information, Liza?
Sure. How are y'all?
All right. How you
Wonderful,
doing?
I'm so excited to be here live with you guys. My gosh. I've missed every single live, I think, but I'm
Oh
real happy
man,
to hear all of y'all. I love all the work you do. I love Robert's work. I love hearing everything. So it's great to meet all of you. I'm in Chalem, by the way, right over here,
Okay.
y'all's neighbor. And
wow, hey.
yes, hey. Okay, so I'm a Mexican citizen as well as an American. I have dual citizenship, but yeah, we made some mistakes. But anyway, about that, my friend got her car picked up because they just kept it here because they were like, it's an old hag. We're not going to take it back. And they just kept it around the house and just kept it rolling until somebody who worked for them got stopped. And,
Wow.
So she said, I'm not going to pay 14,000 for that old hag. They can keep it. And so it was an old car, and so yeah, it's a thing.
Wow. So what are the tip? So this is something they have to pay before as soon as they enter into the border, into the Mexican side, they have to pay this fee in order to drive the car through Mexico.
I think it's a fee, but I'm not sure about the fee. What I remember as a kid, because we would come over here all the time. Now, my dad always just paid bribes and stuff. I have to tell the truth, but he had 6 kids sleeping on top of all these mattresses in the back of the station wagon, hide them guns and stuff. I'm not even lying. He had a ranch. He had to take it to the rancher. So for protection against the rattlesnakes. Anyway, whatever. But so we would go up and we would have a stop at the, when you were coming down from Texas, you'd stop at the thing and get, your visas for all the individuals. And then you had another stop. And if you didn't go there, your car would be illegal. And people don't know that. A lot of times they just they just get their papers for the family and they just drive. Okay. And then you get about 32, what is it, kilometers outside of the city or something, 22, I don't remember the number. But there's a stop in every single border town on the highway. And they stop you and they say, and they're looking for your papers. You go, whoops, and you got to turn around. So yes, you have to stop and get the tip. And I don't remember the cost because I was just a kid. And probably I've only flown over here to this area. That was back, my family lived up north, and what's now drugland, so we don't ever go there anymore.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Kind of lost that land up there, up north.
Oh, wow. Wow. Man. Well, is that sound, and that's what you had to get, Robert, as well, a tip?
Yes, I had to get a tip. And, when we came over, it was about $400. And of course, I let mine expire, so I didn't get that $400 back. But, oh well.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Liza. Is it Lisa or Liza?
Look, my name is Elizabeth. My family always call me Lisa, but my uncle called me Liza Jane. He'd always sing, "Oh, Eliza." And so, when I get in a chat room like this, there's about 20,000 Lisas. So I'm like, I'm Eliza. Just call me Liza Jane. So
Liza Jane.
I answer to any of the above. That's right. Elizabeth is pretty long.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for your feedback. Might call on you a few more times if you don't mind throughout.
I don't mind at all. Happy to.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Gigi, you're up next. Might have to hit that unmute button.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Cortez and Robert, for the opportunity to ask these questions. Robert,
Sure.
I wanted to ask you about when you drove from Texas, from the U.S. to Mexico. I heard that there is a one-time allowance for bringing personal items like in the car. I'm just wondering if you all were able to take advantage of that. It's like only one time you can do it. You don't have to pay any duty on whatever you have in your car, your personal items.
Thank you for asking these questions, and thank you, period. Before I answer that, let me just say this. When you go to the place where you get the tip for your car, you also can get insurance there as well. Just wanted to throw that out there. As far as me, I don't know if it's a one time or not, but I didn't claim anything. I told the guy at the border, man, all I pretty much have is towels and sheets and pillows and books and stuff like that. And he looked through my car and he didn't see none of my real stuff like my televisions and all that. I had it all tucked in underneath the blankets and the pillows and the towels. So I didn't, I can't think of what that word is right now, but I didn't pay taxes on anything.
No
and anything that we had bought, I took it out of the new papers.
Right.
And tucked it in there. So I cheated.
Okay, because I had seen on another video, I can't seem to find that video where this lady and her husband said that they had a form or something. I'm not sure if you had to have the form in order to claim that, not having to pay the duty, but they had like your car was packed with stuff. And, I'm just thinking that would be great if you could get through, because like, hey, if you have a computer or something like that, things that are, electronic devices, like you said, the TVs and stuff, you could save a lot of money if you didn't have to pay duty on it. But sometimes the duty can be costly,
Yes. And also those things are costly when you get over here. They're cheaper over there. But
right.
I brought laptops and about 2 televisions and, computer screens, and I didn't claim it, but I hid it in the car.
Well, I guess it's like you just don't know how it's going to be. It could go in your favor and it may not.
Yes, exactly. And he made me open my doors up and unzip some of my stuff and look through it. But again, I had it all tucked in at the bottom. So when he did look at it, all he saw was what I wanted him to see.
Right.
And then that was it. And then once you get over there to actually I can't think of the word, but actually claim that you have it, They don't come out and look at your car. You have to go into the building. Is that right, Liza?
The way we did it, now, like I haven't driven over in a long, long time, but the way we did it, we had to pull up and you go through a line. You had like 2 drive-through lines. And if they thought you had something that they wanted to look at, then they would wave you over. Like after you do the tip, I think you go through aduana. Okay.
Okay,
so
for me, you go through that lineup before you do the tip.
Okay, that could very well, but the reason I thought it was this, of course, like I said, I was, in my 20s or something. That's a long while ago. But after you had your paperwork was ready and it's time to leave, or they would pull you over and say, okay, no, pull over, and you had to go park. Now, and there's a big long table, big metal table, and they just start taking crap out.
Yeah, they did that to me too.
And then at that point, I'm not sure, but I mean, you have to already have your tip, I thought, because then you're going to run away. We're clear. Let's go. But I don't know. I could be wrong because I wasn't in charge. I wasn't driving, so I don't know the facts. But it's basically like that. They kind of like what they do at the airport. You push the button and you're either red or green. You have to be checked or you don't have to be checked.
Yeah.
And it's like that.
Okay, thank you.
If they see opportunity for you to have something tucked away, then they're probably going to stop you and do some searching.
Right.
I must say I was a little nervous.
I have another question. I have another answer, I think. For your question that was about where can you get that form, I believe that's on immigration.
Okay.
If you go to INM, it should be where it is. So INM .gov, I think.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that's where you'll find that paper.
Okay. Thank you. Hey, Robert, what about after you got into Merida, and I'm concerned about letting go of my insurance for the U.S. because, the rates have been going up constantly, and I'm afraid if I let it go and if I have to, for whatever reason, drive my car back to the States, then I would have to secure some assurance at that time. So what did you do? Did you just let your insurance go?
When we first got over here, I kept that insurance probably for about another 6 months or so. And I said, you know what? If we have to drive this car back, I'll just go to AAA and get enough insurance to last me for the time that I'm going to be over there. But it took me a while before I got enough confidence to actually let that insurance go. We paid for another 6 months or so.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'm finished.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Paul Fellows, you're up next. Paul Fellows, you are up next. You might have to hit the unmute button. Paul Fellows, going once, going twice. I'll come back to you. Stephanie C., you're up next.
Evening to everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great. Just wanted to say, because you're on this call, apparently you have some inkling and desire to move and go out the country. And that if you're unsure, take a flight and go and see and feel if that's a place you really want to be. Because the airplanes, they fly both directions. Just because you go to me, you got to stay if you don't like it. And if you find out that's the place that you really want to be, you'll be even more confident in your move to go. And if you're a believer, God is not limited to where he can bless you. So don't believe that. Like, I have a thing on my Facebook page where there's 2 little girls, they're standing at a gate and they're holding and looking out the gate like they're looking for freedom. But right next to them is the opening to the gate. They don't even see that you are free. All you need to do is just take the step. And so for everyone who's still hesitant, take the step, have faith. If you have to put it in action. And my questions. Okay, so that's that. My question is mosquitoes, and are you guys on 110 or 220?
Mosquitoes?
Yeah, I want to know like how bad are the mosquitoes?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm one of the fortunate ones. Mosquitoes don't bother me. They bother my wife. They bother the heck out of Cortez and a lot of my friends. They
Yeah.
take a bath and it's off, but I don't use any of it. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Now I've lived in the Middle East for a while, and what happened is when I got there was a lot of services that were very inexpensive compared to the U.S. economy. But the more the Americans came and they wanted to show that, hey, I'm the big bad American, I got money, everything went up. Because if something costs $10, they'll pay $25. Like, why are you doing that? Because it hurts the locals, because the locals can't pay what you can pay. But it also now, because they're saying, okay, well, the Americans are here, we're going to raise all our prices for all our services. So like, if that is the rate, $10, try to keep it close to that, even if you give a smaller, some type of a tip or some type of a gift of appreciation to a person or whatever. But don't try to like overpay stuff, because people that are local can't do what you do, and it will change the economy in the area. So that's my last comment. But the other question was, are you guys on 110 or 220?
110. You're talking about electricity, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
110.
yeah.
110.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. We run the same kind of electricity that they do in the U.S. If you want a powerful electric dryer, that's going to be 220. If you get all your other stuff is going to be on 110. I think if you go get an electric car, you're probably going to need 210 or 220.
Perfect. Thank you. Paul Fellows, are you able to chime in yet? I think he's having some technical difficulties. I'll take a look at your situation in a moment. I see your comment in the chat box. Stephanie C, she already went. Giselle, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to know, as far as like, do you need like a homeowner's insurance if you purchase a home there, or is it not necessary?
It's one of those things that's up to you. But
Okay.
most of the locals here don't have homeowners insurance. And I'm not getting it either.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they don't force.
I'm a local now.
They don't force your hand. Okay, like they do.
No.
Do we have to pay any taxes once a year? Like I guess she want to know like property taxes. Do they pay property taxes there?
Yes, we do have property taxes. I'm not sure what our property taxes are going to be, but it's under $500 a year.
Under $500 a year.
Yeah, and that's probably including the fee that we have to pay for having our home in a trust.
Okay, well that's a lot cheaper than the almost $5,000 I pay, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
The house is
for
90 days, or
you own a house for 90 days?
Is it only for 90 days, or is it a year, or what? How long you own?
Oh, as far as like ownership, is it like because we've heard like in different places that they have it like it's limited in the amount of years you own the home, or is it?
Yeah, what the deal is that as far as I know of, our home is I think it's in a trust, and then we own the trust. And I think you can own that for 99 years or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can actually pass that along to your other like family members, kids, or whatnot, or
as far as I'm aware of, yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Well.
All right. So, Dr. Tawana.
Hello. Thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask, when you drive down, does everyone in the vehicle need to have the temporary residency for the same amount of time, or so it?
When we drove down, it was just me and my wife, so we didn't have a resident. All we got was the 6 months that they give you for when you cross over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we didn't get our residency until that thing expired.
Got it. Okay. And then my second question is, since you have firsthand knowledge and experience, have you considered guiding people like in a caravan from Laredo and charging us, to kind of use your services?
That's a good question. And there was one time when I thought about it, but then I wouldn't be retired. So too much work.
You're being
I like to do a whole, other than my trading, I like to do a whole lot of nothing.
I can attest to that.
Okay, just thought I'd ask and let you know that there is interest.
Yeah, it was anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Michelle Greer, you're up next. Michelle Greer, you might have to unmute. There'll be a microphone near your icon. I'm assuming you just click on it and it should unmute you. Going once.
Actually, Cortez, I had to hit on the red microphone, not the microphone by my profile picture, but it's a red microphone.
Yeah, at the bottom.
Okay. Do y'all see that? The red microphone, not the one that looks like like you're hanging up, but it's on the far left, I'm assuming. Is that correct?
Yes.
A red microphone at the bottom left part of the screen. Click on that, and it should. I think she jumped off. Okay, go ahead, Devon Wright. Devon.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, how you doing?
So me and my wife are in a limbo of what we should do as far as like driving over the border with our car. We're coming from Maryland. We have a 1-year-old that might be a little tough on us. So my question is, what was the process of buying a car in Mexico?
First of all, thank you for being here, and good question. We bought a car when we, again, my car that we drove over was a 06, and I wrecked it. So, and it was a Lexus, and they don't have Lexus here, so they couldn't get parts for it. So it made us start thinking about another car. We went to the dealership to buy a new car, and they didn't have it there, the one we wanted, so they had to order it. And he said it would take about 6 months. Well, once 6 months came, we hadn't moved on the list. So then we started looking for a car to just buy, because we're kind of getting sick of this old car. And again, just like the house, we went to the dealership, looked at the car that they had, looked on Facebook Marketplace, and we saw one on Facebook Marketplace that we liked. We negotiated and got our price. We went to them, went to the bank. Being a mechanic, I didn't have to get anybody to check it out. I kind of checked it out for it myself. And, she had all the paperwork, so where they had all the service done and all of that. And we both went to the bank, got the cash, and gave it to her. And from there, she had just got the plates, so we didn't need new plates, but we had to get it put in our name. Getting it put into your name, that's a whole nother ball game. We had to go to this place. Again, I don't really remember the place, but if you can't speak English, don't even think about going there by yourself, because I think their job is to trip you up. My wife did all of this. She said it takes at least 2 days, and that's if you speak Spanish. And it takes about a total of 8 hours. If you have one thing wrong, they're going to send you back to get that right and come back another day. So that could take even more days. But but I can't remember for the life of me what was the name of that place. Oh, hold on. My wife texted to me. Just a second here. Let me find it. The name of that place was called the Register Control Vehicular.
Got it.
Yeah, that's where we had to go to get it put into our name.
The Register Control Vehicular.
Yeah, register, whatever it is. Yeah. But it was just a matter of finding the car and purchasing it. Now, we still have our name on the list for this car coming from the dealership, but it probably won't be until next summer until we get that car. I think the dealership takes care of most of that for you at that point.
So do you have Mexican tags on this new car?
Yes, they had, the people that we bought it from had just bought tags. One of the major benefits here that I like, that everything is to the car, not to the person. So when they get new tags on there, the tags are to the car. When they get insurance, the insurance is on the car, not on the people driving the car. It's on the car. So they kept the insurance on that car for a month for us, even though we got insurance the same day because we already had insurance. So it was easy. But and the insurance on this car, which is a 2020, was like $290 for full coverage for the year. And the insurance on the car that we got from Mexico, that we brought into Mexico from the US, which was a 06, I think the insurance on that full coverage was like $170.
Wow.
And when we wrecked it, okay, I bought this car from my brother for about $2,000. When we wrecked it, the insurance covered everything, and they paid us $1,400. Okay, so pretty much when I get rid of this car, I feel like I've already sold it. I'm just driving a car that I'm waiting on the 4 years to expire. That's why I can sell it to the salvage yard.
That's amazing. I watched one of your older interviews. I think it was like 6 months ago. Are you willing to share your insurance agent? I remember you saying that your car insurance and your medical insurance was through the same agent. Is that right?
Yes, I do. I have my car insurance, the health insurance, and everything through the same insurance company. It's called AXA Insurance. And the insurance agent is hold on, let me find it here.
Could you spell AXA?
Yeah, AXA. And the insurance agent's name is Javier. I just know his first name, Javier.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
I think I even have his number. He said it was okay to give out his number. Let me see if I can find it here. Just a second. I have it. Yeah, here we go. It's +52 999 277 0721 for health insurance and auto insurance, and even homeowners insurance if you want it, or renters insurance. He just sells insurance of all types.
Awesome, thank you.
Great agent, by the way.
And just to clarify, Robert, you're saying, so when you say that insurance is on the car, it doesn't matter how many people are in the household and driving that car, the rate does not change or go up or down. The insurance is on the car. If you were to sell the car to somebody else and it had 6 months worth of insurance on it, that 6 months will go to that other person who will take over the car. Is that correct?
As long as they don't cancel it, that insurance is going to be on that car. I don't care if you have kids in your household under 16, or because in the US, that was a big deal. If you had a teenager in your car, in your house, even though they didn't have license or they just got their license, they're not even driving your car yet. Just because they're in your household, your car insurance will go up. Well, here, it's not on the individual, it's on the car.
Wow. Let me ask you this. When you were in your accident, did your insurance rate go up?
The insurance rate goes up every year. So the first year, I think I paid 800 and something for the whole year. And then the second year, it was 900 and something for the whole year.
900 pesos or
dollars.
$900.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nine something. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but it was 9 something for the year. Okay. And you can't get insurance if you have any type of pre-existing condition, like high blood pressure.
You're saying health insurance. Are you talking about health insurance? Okay, I'm talking about car insurance.
My car insurance for the whole year on my 06 was like $170 for full coverage.
And that didn't go up because of the accident, or
no,
did it?
No, it didn't go up.
All right.
And then the car insurance on this car we just bought, which is a newer car, is I think it's $290 for the whole year.
Wow.
Full coverage.
Full coverage. I love it.
Let me just say this right quick. You talked about me a while back living in Mexico. One of the biggest benefits that you get here, sometimes your rent may be close to the same thing that you're paying in the US. You know, it may be a little bit cheaper, but what rent used to be before I left anyway. But they have hidden savings, and the hidden savings is stuff like, you know, your water bill. I remember my water bill when I was in Texas. Sometimes I would have a $150 water bill because I wanted to keep my grass green. Well, here your water bill is very low, and anybody that has a pool, they're gonna always have your pool being filled up with well water, so they don't even use city water for that. So you're never gonna really get a high water bill.
What's your water bill?
My water bill in this house is half city, half well. So my water bill is $6 every 2 months. And I do have a pool here. And then your gas bill, you know, in the wintertime, when I was in Dallas, your gas bill would almost be as much as your electric bill if it's a cold winter. But we don't have cold winters. And even if you did, it wouldn't go up because we don't have heaters. So, and my gas bill is probably where it's, you know, you're filling up your propane tank. It costs me about, I can't remember what it costs me to fill up a tank. I think it's like 30 something bucks or 20 something bucks, something like that. And I have 2 of them. I have one from a dryer that lasts about 4 or 5 months. And then one for the kitchen and the hot water heater. They last about 3 months. So, you know.
Wow, man, I love it. A lot of hidden, absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna jump back to Michelle Greer. She got bumped off a moment ago with electrical issues. Are you able to jump on now, Michelle?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yes. I think I put the comment actually in the description I've been trying to type. I'm sitting out on my balcony because I don't have any power right now. So, but anyway, I put in there a video I watched today, and it's the video is called "Almost Retired in Mexico," and he has a immigration lady on there that is telling you about changes from some was going to go on this year, but pretty much for 2024 about residency and stuff like that. So I think it's a great video to watch. I am Robert in Dallas, Fort Worth area in Mansfield.
Okay.
And so
Hey.
yes, I'm really was interested in driving down there. So I got a lot of my questions answered already. I was just wanting to know, is there an email address where I can go over the route that you took again, and where you stopped and stayed? Because I was trying to write it down and then my phone kept going in and out. So I kind of missed a little bit of it.
I'll tell you again. It's first of all, I went through 30 to 35 all the way to the border. Okay.
Oh, okay. 35 west to the border.
And then when you put in, say like if you put in on your GPS that you want to go to Merida, they're going to give you about 2 ways. Only take the toll road. You can put toll road or non-toll road. I put toll road. Okay. Okay. And then my first stop was in St. Louis. St. Louis Potosi.
St. Louis.
And I stayed in the one hotel that's right off the highway. Nice hotel. Okay.
First hotel. Okay.
And then the next stop was Veracruz, and I stayed in City Express. I think it's closer to the beach, kind of more in town. Both of these have security. City Express, once you go in there, they totally lock the gate up at night, so you don't have to worry
Okay.
about the car being broken into or anything like that.
Okay. So,
And then,
so Veracruz City Express.
and then Veracruz to Merida. It's you driving somewhere between about 8 to 10 hours a day, but it's 3 days.
3 days.
30,
That was my other
yeah,
question. 3 days. Okay.
taking the toll road all the way.
Okay. So, and for what I understand, I heard you say that if I'm driving by myself, it would be pretty safe, right? Or is there anything
I drove by myself the second time. I didn't have a problem.
Okay. Oh, and what somebody I think said something about guns. From what I heard on that same guy I was telling you about, you
Mhm.
could have one gun. Was that my understanding coming in the border if you're driving?
I didn't bring any weapons. I wasn't taking any chances, so I didn't do anything like that.
Okay, I'll double check on that myself.
Okay.
Okay, and so did you also just get rid of everything? Because I'm an artist. Okay, so I do pottery and I have my own wheel. And there's a
Um,
lady that lives in Akiki. She brought all of her studio from California down to Akiki. And so, huh?
when I was driving through, I saw people with vans and pickup trucks and campers. Now you probably can bring anything you want, but you're probably going to have to declare it.
Okay.
Which
Okay,
means
I'll
you're going to have to
just do
pay
more
taxes.
research on that.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're in are you in
Yes,
Merida
I'm
proper
in
right
Merida.
now? Are you in one of the out? Oh, okay, all right.
But I'm in the city. I'm a city boy, so I had to move in the city. Cortez
Uh,
moved out there in BFE. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of his videos. I was like, where is he now? So yeah. So I don't know that I'm gonna move to Merida. There's a big older population, and they were saying that the hospitals are better down by Akiki. They have, if you have, they even have a place there for older people who are in walkers and wheelchairs and stuff. And so I'm not really sure, but I'll contact you guys. I'll probably come down for a month or so before I move, like next summer, because my lease ends at the end of July.
I think that's what we did. That's a good decision.
Yeah, so I'll be in contact with you guys. In the meantime, watching videos and stuff. If I have any other questions, I'll just you know, just keep in touch.
Sounds like
Thank
a
you
plan.
guys. I appreciate all your help.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, by the way, I've been to Mexico 3 times. I went to San Miguel, and then I went to Puerto Vallarta, and then I went to Akumal. So did you guys say something about the process for your temporary or permanent visa is easier if you've already been to Mexico 3 times, 2 or 3 times?
I don't know if that rule still applies, but when I came, because we had been here a few times, it was a lot easier for us to get our temporary visa.
Okay, I'll do some double checking on that too. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're
Okay.
welcome. Yeah, just do a search for the regularization program. That's how we got our visa as well. We were able to go in, fill out some paperwork, and we got a 4-year temporary visa on the spot. So don't have to go back and renew a year later. At the end of the 4 years, we'll roll into a permanent at that point. So regularization program, I'll put all that inside the members area as well. I know as of now it's still active. It's an active program. There are some basic requirements you have to meet, multiple entries into the country, and you have to let your temporary visa expire. So again, details might have changed since a few months ago since I got mine. Paul Fellows wanted to know, Robert, the name of the company that built your furniture and bar stools. Can you hear me, Robert? Did we lose you, Robert?
Sorry about that. Had to go get something to drink.
Oh, okay. Did you?
What was the question?
Paul Fellows wanted to know the name of the company that built your furniture and the bar stools.
Oh man, I didn't get that one down. I didn't think about that one.
I can get it from you later, and I'll post it in the area.
Sounds good.
I'm just gonna write a note down. Let's see here. Who is Cheryl? Cheryl A. You're up next.
Yes, hello. Thank you. Thank you all for having it. Thank you for Robert for being here.
Thank you, Cheryl. You're welcome.
I did have a question. You had mentioned that you and your wife had been deciding whether to move to Merida in the beginning, but did you all ever look at other countries or other areas of Mexico before you made the move from Texas?
Good question, first of all. We looked only online at Ecuador. We visited Central America. Good night. It's a country in Central America that a lot of people visit. It's like a jungle. It's supposed to be one of the safest countries as far as military and all that. I can't think of the name of it for now, right now, for anything. Some of you guys may, Costa Rica. Thank you. We went to Costa Rica. You know, I didn't like it there because the water wasn't clear enough. So I know that's a crazy reason, but then I come here and we don't have clear water either. But and then we went to Puerto Morelos, and I loved it there, but it was really expensive, and everybody was telling me don't move to Cancun. And we looked at a house in Puerto Morelos, and the lady that was selling the house was moving to Merida, and so she said the reason she was moving to Merida because it was cheaper. So that spiked our interest, and then we checked it out, and then we started visiting Merida and decided Merida gave us, I'm a city guy. Merida gave us all the city stuff that we're used to with the stores and the movie theaters and everything that we like to do normally. And so it made the transition a lot easier. Because when you come here, you kind of only know you're not in the U.S. when you in certain parts of the city. You go into the malls and the grocery stores, some of them, you feel like you're in the U.S.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. And I know when you were mentioning about this house, when your wife found it, were you all considering whether it had like a homeowners association, or is that I know some parts of Mexico have those.
That's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
You know, being a mechanic, I'm used to working on my car in the driveway. And
right.
So I got these old, even though I'm not working on a car anymore, I still have these old ways. So I didn't want a house that had homeowners association or any of that. Okay.
Right.
Because to me, I didn't like the rules. So even though sometimes I wish I could put the rules on other people, but I just didn't want them on me. So I didn't. That was a very big consideration. We wasn't looking for that.
Okay. And the same, I guess, the similar thing with the auto insurance, because when you were mentioning about the auto insurance, I was thinking about my insurance. I have an old car from 2011. I'm still in the U.S., obviously, but like here you have uninsured motorists, and then you have comprehensive and collision and all these other things. Is it like that in Mexico, or do you just get a blanket coverage?
I'm not 100% sure because that's part of my wife's department.
Okay.
But I think you have all the individual deals too, because I know we could have gotten liability only. Because on my car before, that's what I used to get, because I used to say, it's a $2,000 car. The most they're going to give me is about $1,500. I would rather, instead of paying $150 a month, I would rather just have extra money in the bank in case the car was to go bad or something. But here, the full coverage insurance was only like $20 more. So I said, what the heck? Go ahead and get, $170 for the whole year. I was paying that for the month. So I went on and got the full coverage here. I'm glad I did since we had the wreck, but I think they have it all split up like they do in the US.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
All right, Robert. Melissa C wanted to know, what about pre-existing health conditions? It sounded like you started to say something about it earlier on in the conversation.
When it comes to health insurance, I don't know how I got into that. I thought someone asked that question, but when it comes to health insurance, if you have any kind of pre-existing health condition, that could be high blood pressure, or I can't think of any of them right now, diabetes or diabetic or any of them, it's no point in getting insurance, because anything that you have, they're going to blame it on that and not cover it.
Hopefully that answered your question. Okay. And going back to auto insurance, Lisa Jane says, I highly recommend you have auto insurance to the maximum, because if there's not enough money, you both go to jail until the details are worked out.
That is correct. That's what I've heard as well.
I was in a wreck just the other day, and it really would have been nothing, and I wasn't driving. I have a driver who, it was his car. He got hit so fast, and it looked like it was a major accident. But I mean, if something happens, let's say to the sidewalk, you crack it because somebody runs you up on that, you owe the city for that. If somebody goes to the hospital, that has to be resolved. If anybody, it doesn't matter if it's in your car or in their car, both parties, until y'all agree who's at fault, you're going to jail until you work it out, or you're going to work it out right there on the spot. And so having a max, I've seen 2 incidences happen where, because they had their max, actually another friend she had hers in a wreck because somebody sideswiped her in her car just last week. So these are 2 other parties, not you as a driver, but them. And yeah, it just saved them a lot. I mean, those agents were there on the spot within half an hour. They arranged everything. They took care of the other driver. They took care of you. The only thing is that you have to say nolo contendere, basically. I'm not saying that I'm not at fault. You take fault. You've got the insurance. It's only $20 more. I mean, and you don't have to go to jail. I was in a wreck. I wrecked my mother's car. My dad did not have insurance on that car. And he had to pull a quick one, and they had to sell a cow. Maybe 2, because they were ranchers, up in the north. And so it was like insane. They had to port my mother's, it was a Mercedes.
Wow.
Good God, I was drunk. I mean, no, it was horrible. Yes, it was horrible. I was a 20-year-old, you remember. So, I mean, I had all my cousins and my siblings in the car, and this guy, I thought he was dead. He hit the median because I just hit him that hard. There were no lights. I didn't see the stop sign. It didn't have any reflective paint, and I was at fault, no doubt. And so that guy, I mean, they took me to the jailhouse, and I had to, thankfully, they didn't put me in a cell. They made me sit out in the office for hours until that got arranged. And my uncle had to, go sell a cow really quick and come back with the cash to pay it. Yes, it was terrible. So please get your insurance, keep it at all times.
Perfect. Thank you. So y'all heard that firsthand. Pay the extra few dollars, get that better quality, get that maximum insurance. I've been in jail for 2.5 days in Mexico. It ain't no joke. They don't feed you. Your friends and family have to bring food to the jail to feed you. If you don't have any friends or family bringing you food, you ain't gonna eat. So whatever you can do to stay out of jail, paying $20 or $30 extra to make sure you have the best insurance, pay for that. It ain't worth the hassle. Deborah Smith, you are up next.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm doing good. I hope you guys are good. I want to know about the health insurance. Uh, do they accept any health insurance from the U.S.?
I don't have anything on that. That's on you, Cortez.
Yeah, so again, it depends. I had we had 3 medical emergencies here, and I'm gonna include a name. I'm just writing a note down. Amex Care, and I'm gonna post this in the members area as well. There's a lady who works at the hospital. You can call her and give her your insurance information. She's gonna have you take a photo of your insurance card from your phone and message it to her via WhatsApp, and she will check to see if your insurance will apply. And she was upfront with me. For the most part, most insurances won't be accepted. However, there are a few insurances where they may cover emergencies. And we're talking about the major carriers like Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, and maybe Aetna. We had Cigna, and they covered my surgery. I had emergency surgery. In order for them to accept it, I had to be admitted into the hospital on an emergency basis. They performed emergency surgery. I just had to pay a $600 copay from Cigna, and they took care of the payments. If you don't have insurance, typically you will have to pay up front to be treated here in Mexico at most of the private hospitals. We're learning some new information. Robert and I, we both just learned this. I'm not educated enough on it to talk about it, but we're finding or learning that there are some situations where you can go to a public hospital and they will treat you and you don't have to pay. So as we get more information on that, I'll definitely share that some more. But at any of these private hospitals, you're going to have to pay up front. But if you do get insurance, make sure it's one of the major 3: Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, and just ensure that you have coverage for emergencies regardless of where you're at. But I will post her information in the group, and you can message her directly and see if your insurance would cover.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Giselle?
Oh, do you need a Mexican driver's license to drive there, or can I just use what I have now?
I hope not, because I'm using the same one I had.
Are you riding dirty, Robert? What's going on?
I might be.
Hey, I'm gonna follow you.
I read something not too long ago, and this may not be 100% true, but I heard that Canada, the U.S., and Mexico have an agreement that we can use whatever license that we're from to drive in those countries.
Okay.
That's what I heard. I'm not 100% on that.
That's fair. I'm gonna play back this recording if I get pulled over. But I'm gonna say Robert said it was all right. I got one more. What did you need to show or have to cross over to the Mexican border?
That's a good question. Let me say this right quick. We drove over, so you have to have your passport, have your driver's license, but you also need to have your title to your car, your registration to your car, and you need to have your insurance from the U.S. to your car just to come over.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Michelle Greer, you are up next.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I was pushing the wrong buttons before. But anyway, I think I put it in there actually. That same guy that I just telling you about, almost retired in Mexico. He addresses, and he has some people on there in Akiki. So I hadn't had time to check it because I was on it today. I'm talking in regard to healthcare. There's a lot of people there. I mean, some in wheelchairs, some in with walkers. So I think the older you are, and I have to look back through the video. You guys can look at the video. They do accept some pre-existing conditions. I just want to say that. For the younger people, I'm not sure. I'll be 65 in May. That's why I'm coming next year after I turn 65. and and so I was really interested in that. But if I see anything, if I go back through that video and I learn anything, I'll give it to you, Cortez, and I'll
thank you.
give you that information so you can put it out there. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Bay Trey.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. Okay, so this might be a really, really strange question, but because Robert had mentioned the telephone number to the person that plus 52, I have never called Mexico. I don't understand how to use the plus 52, whether I'm in the country or, in Mexico, or if I'm in the United States. How do you use that? Are you talking about, what do you call that? You mentioned it earlier, WhatsApp, or are you using a telephone like your regular telephone service to call the plus 52? How does that work?
Everyone here pretty much uses WhatsApp.
Okay.
And as far as I know, that's his WhatsApp number.
Okay. I don't know how to use WhatsApp. I mean, I have it, but I've never called anybody on it. Do you press, like, I have a regular telephone, there's a WhatsApp app, and then when I go into it, I don't know how to do it. Like, are you pressing like a plus sign that's on the phone? I don't understand. I mean, maybe I could Google that, and I'm sorry to ask this weird question, but I'm just
okay. I don't really know how to tell you how to really do that. It's a little phone picture on mine where I just push that. And the other thing is, most of these people, you pretty much have to text them.
Okay.
They have a tendency not to really answer phone calls, but they will answer all texts, seem like.
Okay. So just use the WhatsApp, and then that number that you gave out, or if I had any number plus the 52, it'll kind of show up no matter what. If I get their information, they text me, just text them using that number.
Yes. And let me just tell you this right quick. Before you tell them anything, speak first, like greet, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, something like that, and try to do it in Spanish.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a reason why, Robert?
Because that's the way they talk here. They speak to you first before they start talking.
Okay. It would just seem kind of like not social or disrespectful if you just kind of start talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Also, I'm gonna see if you can. I don't know if you can see this on my phone, but the zero key. If you press and hold the zero for like a second or two, a plus symbol will pop up on your phone.
Thank you. Okay.
And once you do that, then you type in the 52, then the phone number, and then it basically it's a country code to connect you into Mexico.
Okay.
And WhatsApp is slightly different depending on if you have a Android or a
Apple
iOS.
Okay. I never would have known that part. Thank you so much.
Sure, absolutely. Stephanie C., you are up next.
Okay, yeah, I'm back again. So my question was about the embassies. Like, are you guys connected to the embassy? Are you registered there? And also for people who are any disabled veterans of any rating, they can apply for what's called foreign medical program through the VA, and they can and it's free. It's free for you to apply for it.
And what is the free the foreign medical program? What is that about?
That's part of the Veterans Administration for any disabled veteran at any rating. So you have a zero to 100 rating as a disabled veteran. So at any rating, if you have a 10 or whatever, it doesn't matter. you can apply for what's called the foreign medical program, and it's free.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Did you have any information on the embassy side, Robert?
On the embassy,
I just want to know if you guys are registered with it, because when I move around, I
we
always
registered with them.
contact the embassy and let them know where I'm at.
Yeah, we registered with them.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
And that's a good tip. So for those of you all that are visiting Merida or any other foreign country, once you get in, ideally you do want to register with the embassy so they know you're here. In the event something happens, they'll have a general idea of who's present, who's here. If emergencies arise, they'll be able to reach out to family members on your behalf as well, and a few other things. You can typically, I can't remember the name of the website, but I will write that down in the members area for you to register in the local place that you're staying at. Let's see. Helen Banks. Helen Banks, are you, if you can unmute yourself, there's a microphone, bottom left part of the screen.
Yes, hello?
Hey, we can hear you.
Yes, good evening to the both of you and to everyone. I thank you for putting this program on, Cortez and Robert. My question is this, I think I came in a little late. I wanted to know if Robert would go through the buying of a house process. I guess a shortened version of it.
Okay, I'll try, but once you find a house, what we had to do then was we found we went through Easy Legal. That's a company that did all the, let's see, what would you use here? You use a broker or something like that, or the bank or something in the US? Where here we went through Easy Legal for all of that, closing the deal out and registering the house in our name and all of that. So to know all the steps, I don't really know, because we just went through them and they took care of everything. We finally just we came in once to pay the deposit, and then we came back in 90 days later to close the deal out. And
I guess my question was, I know in the United States you have a realtor, there's also MLS listings. Pretty much, did you just find the house on your own, or Easy Legal found the house for you?
No, we went through a few real estate agents to help us find a house, and we also looked on Facebook Marketplace. My wife actually is the one that found the house on Facebook Marketplace, and of course they had it listed through a real estate agent. And when we found it, we contacted the real estate agent that had it listed, and she showed us the house. And just looking at a lot of houses pretty much until we found one that we like, through real estate agencies and on our own.
Okay, I guess my next question, Cortez, is for you. If I wanted to look for a house like here in the United States, would I have to have a VPN on my computer so that they would think I was in Mexico as opposed to being in the United States?
I would say it would help. It definitely would help. And one of the things, and I'm going to clarify some of the other stuff that you asked. Real estate agents is really not a thing here like it is in the United States. There's no governing body or regulating committee that oversees licensing or anything like that. Anybody can wake up tomorrow morning and call themselves a real estate professional, et cetera, et cetera. And truth be told, many home buyers and even renters don't like to deal with agents because they don't like to pay commissions to local homeowners. So the process is very quite different. Most people, when they find a house, primarily using Facebook Marketplace, is a big thing here. I know, like in the States, using Facebook Marketplace and sites like Craigslist, you generally run the risk of being scammed a lot. but that's not necessarily the case here. But most people tend to go find property via Facebook Marketplace or from seeing the rentals, for seeing the for sale signs on the buildings, or from word of mouth from other family, friends, and neighbors and whatnot. So like Robert said, they went through a company called Easy Legal. Once they found an ideal house that they wanted to get, they went through this company, Easy Legal, just to verify all the paperwork, make sure the house and property is owned by such and such, make sure there's not any liens or tied to the house and everything like that. And so not a simple, I mean, it's a simple process in a sense, but it's time consuming. It's a long process depending on who you're dealing with. And but it's quite different. It's quite different. So ideally, you're probably going to want to deal with multiple real estate agents, and we do the same thing when we're helping people find a rental house. I might have 5 or 6 agents looking for properties for me, because the 1 or 2 agents that you pick, they just ain't reliable. They don't show up, they don't respond, they don't call you back, and they just on a whole nother planet, for lack of.
And they only show you the house that they are gonna get paid commissions on.
Exactly. So it could be a very frustrating thing. But you can find your place. Again, you just have to deal with multiple agents just to be able to get any decent returns on the number of listings and properties that you can go look at. Like I say, half of them, they just won't show up. They'll schedule appointments, they won't be there, or they just won't call you back. So just something to be mindful of.
Okay, thank you for your time, and thank you for putting this on, Mr. Cortez.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate you. Helen Banks. Miss Helen.
That's me. That was me.
Oh, that was you. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Berna.
Okay.
Berna Gee. Go ahead.
Hey, so I didn't have a question this time, but I wanted to piggyback on Trey. So I wanted to let you know that when you're using WhatsApp, before you're able to send a message to someone in WhatsApp or call them in WhatsApp, you'll have to save that number in your phone like you would any regular contact from the States. So when you save that number in your phone first, then you're able to open up the WhatsApp app, and you can hit on the new message button, and it will give you a pop-up of your contacts that's in your phone, and you can choose then the number for Javier. So I just wanted to say, save the number to your phone contacts first, and then you can use it in WhatsApp.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
You Verna.
All right.
So, and WhatsApp, and Robert mentioned this earlier, it is the number one way everybody communicate, the primary way people communicate here. So if you don't have WhatsApp on your phone, you might as well go ahead and download the app and get familiar with it, because you will be using it on day one when you arrive. And if you're trying to do some research and reach out to, if you're looking at real estate listings online, you're going to need to download it before you get here so that you can reach out to folks online as well. If you're wanting to talk to pharmacists to get an idea how much medications cost, or if they have medicines available, you want to be talking to them in WhatsApp. And as Robert mentioned earlier, you're not really going to call them. You're simply going to send them a message. WhatsApp has a feature where you can text, and that's how most of the conversations are started. You're going to send a message, good morning, good afternoon, good night, in Spanish, of course, buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches, and then you're going to start the conversation, and then they'll respond back to you in a timely manner. So download the app, get familiar with it. It's the number one way to communicate, and you'll be using that every day. Let's see. Baytrade, did you have another question? I think you have your hand up.
I did. I had a question, and it was for Robert because I wanted to know. I know you said that you went down to Mexico, you and your wife for, I think you said a month. When you went for that month, did you stay at a hotel? Did you rent like a rental property where they gave you like a good rate because it was a month or however long it was? I'm sorry if I don't remember that part, but is there a way to rent a property before you actually settle into it to see if it's a place you like in Mexico, or do you have to contact somebody to, know somebody over there in order to do it? Or do you just go and find it once you get there? How does that work, if you know?
When we came here, we just did like we normally do on vacation, either go a hotel or Airbnb. In the case here, we had an Airbnb. And then once we got here, we got us an agent, kind of like Cortez or something, to help us find an apartment.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Grant, you are up next. Grant Steinmaker. Grant, you should see a microphone on the bottom left part of the screen. Click that to unmute yourself.
Yeah, my bad. Am I there?
Hey, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you both. So Robert, first question for you. On your day trading course that you offer, I've got so my whole family, I got three adult kids. We're all trying to move down there to Mexico. And so the kids obviously have been looking at various things online on how to support themselves. And I know that, I think in one of your videos you mentioned, if you sign on with your program, if you got somebody else in the family that's interested in doing it too, how would that work? Does everybody need to pay the fee, or can I share with my kids somehow the information that I'm learning? And then secondly, do you still, I believe it's Thursday nights you do your lives? I work a night job also, so that wouldn't be a thing for me. So I would be able to just watch the recordings, and so watching the lives is not going to be a thing for me. Am I still going to get good value out of your program?
Yes, you will get good value out of the program. And if you guys are in the household, I mean, I can't stop you from the whole family gathering around a computer watching it. And I wouldn't try to in the first place. So yeah, if all of y'all are in the house together, yes, you all can be on it at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. My youngest, who's 19, is traveling in Africa right now with his buddy who just got out of high school, who's a day trader. That's how he's funding his trip, as a 19-year-old. So it's encouraging to see.
Yes.
And then on the residency question for you, Cortez, I know that you went to your wife and two girls, and yourself got your 4-year residency. What are you doing about your 21-year-old?
Yeah. Matter of fact, her 6 months are just about up.
So she can try to go through the same process then?
Well, I can roll her under our plan, under our visa, something they call the family unit. And I might be saying that wrong, but I can roll her up under ours. Now, we have a wedding to go to. I have a 23-year-old. We have a 23-year-old that lives in Florida who's getting married at the end of November. So we're gonna fly down there for the wedding for a week or two and then come back. So I'm kind of debating on whether or not I'm just gonna take the chance and hope I get another 6 months with her when she comes back across with us. And if that's the case, that just buy me 6 more months to kind of save the money and get her residency. I just want to make sure she wants to stay here before I fork over all that money.
Right. I contacted your two gals down there to help out with the immigration. I asked one of them if about that family reunification thing, and I was told that would not work for me without an explanation. I don't know why. Yeah, so I'm just a little concerned about. We're going through the temporary, me and my wife right now for that, but since the kids are over 18, I can't add them on as dependents. So I'm just trying to figure out how to go about doing that.
Okay. You know what? That might be that might be a detail. I did not tell my agent that my daughter was 21. So I'm gonna call her tomorrow. So I might run into the same problem. Because I did not specify that she was under 18. So that may be accurate. So I will have to look at Robert. When you enrolled your brother-in-law, did he fall under your family unit plan, or did he have to get registered separately?
He got his own deal.
He got his own deal. Okay, so I might have to do the same. Okay, well, I'm glad you asked that question, Grant. I'm gonna look into that, and what I find out, I'll post in the members area as well.
We got very lucky with him. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Well, I think what I'm going to do when we all go down is when we go through customs, I'm going to ask the agent, hey, will you give me 7 days and see if he'll do it. And then we'll just extend, let him expire on the kids and then go through that program where since they've been there several times before. I don't know if that'll work or not, but we're going to give it a shot.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I'll definitely share what I find out as well.
All right. Now, last thing I want to say is thanks for several months ago, I contacted you, Cortez, about asking if you had any recommendations for stem cell treatment. You sent me a couple of links. You said you didn't know anything about it, but you sent me a couple of links, and I researched it and ended up going down there in Merida in February. Me and my brother had stem cell treatment, and everything went real well. So I appreciate you sending that information on to me.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I remember you. I definitely remember that. So I'm glad things worked out. Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that. I'll pass it on to the others as well.
Sure thing. All right. Take care. That's it. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Phyllis Proctor.
Yes. First of all, thank you for having me, Cortez, and thank you also, Robert, for being here. My question has to do with Medicare. Once you reach 65, you have to apply for Medicare 3 months prior to your 65th birthday, or either 3 months after your 65th birthday. So my question is, when you come to Mexico, do you still keep your Medicare, or you just go ahead and purchase Mexico insurance? Or how does that work? Well, how has that been working for you all, for either one of you?
For me, I haven't got there yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, because I was just wondering, if you had to come back to the States for something, what do you do? Because I'm 65 and I already have my Medicare, just Medicare A. But I'm still working, so I haven't applied for Medicare B yet until I actually retire, and that will be soon. But I had to do that. If not, I would incur a penalty. So that's the reason why I applied for the Medicare. But I'll have to check into it further. I'll do some research and see, if I have to. I don't know exactly what would happen, because of the requirement of the U.S. But if I move to Mexico, then that would change things. So I'll have to do some research.
Okay.
I don't know about how it would work, but if it was me, this is just me commenting. So don't take this as nothing.
Okay.
But if it was me, I would keep my whatever it is you have in the U.S. or go ahead and apply for it until I get my whatever I'm going to get in the U.S. and know for sure that it's going to work.
Okay. That's what I kind of thought, because I have Medicare A now, and I won't get Medicare B until I actually retire, but I don't plan on staying here. So that was my question. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. Go ahead, Grant.
I just want to comment on this last out here with the Medicare. Medicare. I'm not 65 yet either, but I did see a video of an insurance agent that was saying that when you get your Medicare Part A, like she's saying, and then you'll get when you sign up for your Medicare Part B, there's also a Medicare Part C, and that Part C evidently covers you when you're in Mexico. I don't know to what extent, or if it's only I think it's only in emergency situations like Cortez, like you went through. But like, I don't know the particulars, but definitely ask about the Part C part of that, because there is some coverage available in Mexico with that. But you have to have the Part C, which you pay a little bit for.
Okay, I'll check into that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Robert, I don't want to take up all your time. I want to make sure you're good. On
good.
time. You good?
I'm good.
All right. Zachary, you up next?
Yeah, I was just curious at how much the stem cell treatment was. I just wasn't sure. I wanted to get like a price range.
Are you going to answer that for him, Grant?
Sure. So what I contacted 2 outfits, and when I went to Merida, we visited both individuals, both doctors. One we went with, he spoke English very well. He went to school in Michigan. He did his medical school in Michigan, and he's got a clinic in Progresso, but he drives into Merida to and rents a space in Merida to help out whoever's in Merida. But let's see, my brother and I both got 10 million stem cells in each of our shoulders, and my brother got 50 million stem cells in his knee, which was in, pretty worn out. And that total price, I believe, was like $3,500 for both of us. And that's, you go through, you get your x-rays there, they'll do an ultrasound on you to show everything, they explain the whole treatment. Anyway, very reasonable compared to everything else that I had found, and nothing but positive experience.
If you don't mind, Grant, for those who are not familiar with stem cell and what it does and the benefits, are you willing to share what this is, how it works, and the benefits from this?
Sure, I'll tell you what I know. So the reason that we had it done is just for particularly our joints that worn out. My brother had been through rotator cuff surgery on one of his shoulders, and both of my shoulders were I've had pain in them for a long time. We're both paint contractors, and so we've been in construction our whole adult lives. His knee was completely worn out, no cartilage in it. So we did the treatment just for the regenerative. Well, it's all regenerative with stem cells, but regenerative properties to help with our joints. So it's the soft tissue. Doesn't regenerate bone. It does ligaments, cartilage, the soft tissues. So the doctor told my brother on his knee, he's like, look, after looking at your ultrasound and x-rays, you got very, very little cartilage left in your knee. So there's not going to be much there for the stem cells to attach to start regenerating. So you may not get any benefit, which he did not. Different story with our shoulders, though. We did have benefit from those, from the stem cell from those. People do it for all different reasons, health benefits that I can't speak to, but people all the way into their old age are are getting them done all over the world. And there's different podcasts and stuff. I know Joe Rogan, very popular podcaster. He gets it done. His, Mel Gibson had it done. Mel Gibson's dad had it done at 87 years old for various reasons. But you just got to do a lot of research for what you're hoping to get benefit, and make sure that that's actually a thing for your particular condition. Because of course, everybody will tell you that, yeah, it'll help you online anyway when you're reading, and then when you actually contact the physician that you decide on, just ask a lot of questions and just try to get as much info as you can. But so I don't have a whole lot to share, but that was just my experience.
Okay. So the treatment that you got was the $3,500 for both of y'all. What would something like that would have cost in the United States approximately?
Tens of thousands.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and the reason that people go out of the U.S. to do it is because, of course, we got the FDA here that has all the mandates on everything. So I checked into Colombia, Cortez, because I've been there a couple of times, and that's when I actually started following you, was when you were in Colombia. I called an outfit in Guatemala and spoke to a gal, and that outfit was super expensive, almost like it is in the U.S. But the stem cells themselves come from the umbilical cord of fetuses, and that's not a thing in the U.S. They're a lot more, for lack of a better term, more effective. In the U.S., from what I understand, they take your blood and you use your own stem cells. Well, the older you are, the less effective your stem cells are, which is why people outside of our country get them through placenta or umbilical cords, and then grow them out that way.
Wow. Awesome. Okay. Wow. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, if you don't know anything about it, it sounds kind of weird, but for those that have been looking into it, it's a huge thing.
Wow. Okay. Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Let's see here. All right. Did anybody else have any questions? I'm scrolling through the comments. Did anybody else have any questions? Hold on 1 second. If you have any questions, there's the little hand icon in the center of the screen that looks like this. Just click on that and it will roll you into the queue. If anybody have any comments in general, go ahead, Dr. Tawana.
What advice would you give someone who is thinking of coming in, getting temporary residency in November on the state U.S. side, and then coming into Merida in December? What advice would you give that person in terms of trying to get settled and, making some more permanent moves?
Make sure I understand your question correctly. What advice would I give to someone who wants to get their residency? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so I'm planning to get on the state U.S. side, go to New Orleans in November and complete the paperwork there because it's just a lot easier, and I have a direct contact in that office. And then I plan to come over and finish out on the Mexico side in December before the 30 days you have expires. So what would you recommend in terms of a best use of time while in Merida waiting for that appointment?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, once you finish up the first part on the U.S. side and you're coming here, I would just explore the different areas, different parts of town. have a general idea of what your budget's going to be, what you want in a house. Just kind of know that information in advance. Um, Look for, you know what activities and hobbies and things of interest that you're into. Already research those things out before you arrive, so that once you get here, you can kind of start creating some type of routine and just kind of getting involved in the local community. The thing that I find, the reason that most people leave here, most folks come here, they sit in the house and they just stay in the house. They're bored, don't have anything to do, don't go anywhere, for various reasons. Well, primarily because they don't know the language and they feel that they won't get it, and they're kind of scared to go out there and just kind of put themselves out there. So, I mean, I would come find those activities, get involved so you can start meeting people. While you're here during those 30 days, if there are any doctor appointments you need to make, if you need to get your eyes examined, if you need to see the dentist, go ahead and go book an appointment and go through those processes so you can get a real feel for what it will be like once you move here. You know, because again, most people, they just sit to themselves, stay in the room, and they just get bored. So I would start doing stuff as a local would. You know, if you're into kickboxing, go find a kickboxing class and sign up right away. Take Spanish classes if you don't know the language. If I had to do it all over again, I would have started taking my Spanish classes within the first week of arriving, and would have stuck with it. You know what I mean? Because the little bit that I know and the little bit that I'm learning each month, it changes the dynamic significantly. The more I learn, the better my life is, the better quality of life you can expect to have. So because I'm seeing the benefits of it, I'm spending more time practicing and learning more and more and more and more. So I would do that. I would take a Spanish class immediately. It'll give you an opportunity to meet others in the classroom as well. And again, just start forming relationships and friendships. So I know I kind of threw a lot of stuff out there.
No. I came down. I'm in LA, and I came down in September. It's still September. Earlier this month, and I stayed in Altagrisa. I really love the area. I love the walkability, and I think that's the area I want to kind of focus on longer term. But I hadn't even thought about what you just suggested in terms of even just taking care of the medical stuff as a way to integrate.
Exactly. Yeah, because it'll give you a chance to start. I mean, you'll really see what it's going to be like to live here. You know, so yeah, book that doctor appointment. Go get your teeth cleaned. Get your eyes checked. You know, whatever you need done or intend to do or planning to do in the States, do it here. Just to get customized to how things here work.
Hey, Cortez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, Roberto here. To that person that asked that last question, also another suggestion is don't finish off your residency stuff at the end of the year, because immigration services basically locked down for about half the month of December. Maybe you're going to have a hard time in November getting in there. So just be careful with that too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, that's a real thing. Everything shuts down during the Christmas holidays. And here in Mexico, they tend to celebrate Christmas. They start December 1st, the whole month of December, they start kicking things off. You know, so that could be a really big concern. So yeah, if you can get that started sooner than later, that would be great. Thanks, Roberto.
Oh, on that too. So that would mean, because changes usually happen in January, like mid-January, in terms of the financials going up and things like that?
Say that again.
You know how financials typically go up every year?
Yes.
That usually happens around mid-January?
It probably will start right when they resume opening offices in January, right after the holidays.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So yeah, it's a good, yeah.
Okay. Thank
So
you,
yeah,
guys.
if you get it done before January, that would definitely be ideal.
Okay. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. They trade.
Yes, Cortez, I wanted to know, have you ever seen, well, I was looking at a program, it's a homestay program where you go into Mexico or any like Spanish speaking country or any country really, but in Merida, I saw that they have a homestay program where you can stay with Mexicans, and they allow you to stay in their home. They have like a side where you can you can live in their home in a separate bathroom, or you can live and use the bathroom like everybody else. But I was wondering, have you ever heard of anybody coming down there using the homestay program? They have like where you stay in the home, you're learning Spanish. They only talk to you in Spanish, period. And then also they have classes on the side of that. So you can bring your family, not just yourself. You can have like children, husband, wife, things like that. Have you ever heard of anybody going down there in your, space of being there? Have you seen them in your area? Or have you ever talked to anybody who's ever experienced it? Because I only saw it on YouTube, and I actually did contact the place where I saw it on YouTube. They did email me back, but I was kind of nervous a little bit because I've never been to Merida. I heard it's very safe, but I was just trying to figure if you've seen that and where would it be located if you knew anything about it. It looks, legitimate, and I've seen the ones in Spain and everywhere else, Guatemala, but I was just trying to figure out Merida. Have you ever heard of anybody doing that at all?
I have not heard of that particular program. If anybody else has, feel free to jump in and say so.
I have a little familiarity with that.
Okay, go ahead.
So if you look at any Spanish language school, they generally all offer a homestay option. So they vet the families. They're generally middle class or higher families, and yeah, they just like to have foreigners come and stay because they learn from foreigners, and then we learn from them. But yeah, so you'll be immersed in the Spanish language. You'll eat with the family. You have your own private room. I did it when I went to Spanish language school in San Miguel de Allende, and yeah, super experience. I'd recommend it.
Oh, thank you, Grant.
Sure.
Thank you, Grant.
Oh, one other thing. I'm sorry to
Go ahead.
interrupt you, Cortez.
Oh, go ahead.
The gal that was just asking about the visa requirements, changing in at the beginning of the year. So I'm going through that now, and I specifically asked if I start the process in 2023 on the U.S. side, can I finish it in 2024 in Mexico and still have the 2023 financials be the rule that I go by? And they say yes. So as long as you get it done within 6 months of when you start it, you won't have to pay what is probably going to be the higher rate in 2024.
Perfect. Thank you for that information. That's why I love this platform. People working together, sharing information. And so, yeah, that was priceless. Thank you, Grant.
Sure.
Verna, go ahead.
Hey, so one thing for you, Cortez, but the other for Trey, you were mentioning the immersion program. And while I haven't taken the immersion program in Mexico, I have taken 2 of them in Chile. And I can say if it's something that you're thinking about, then I would say for me, it was a great experience. Met a lot of people. I did stay with host families. They cooked for me. They invited me out to parties. They really got me immersed in the culture. So I think immersion programs are a really good way to learn the language and to make local friends. And for Cortez, I remember a video a while back you mentioned about aviation school or some school about becoming a pilot. Have you looked more into that? Because I looked into a company about that and it was thousands upon thousands of dollars. And I was thinking, well, maybe in Mexico, there's a program that is cheaper than that.
Yeah, so the program that I looked into, I believe if I recall, the numbers were it's going to run about $9,000 over the course of 1 year. They go to class every day, and that $9,000 also included flight time as well. They included uniforms and included books and all of that stuff as well, flight simulation time, which I thought was a good price. Now, I hadn't compared it with any other schools. Typically, before I make a decision on something, I generally like to get 3 quotes. So I only got that one. So I don't know if it's going to be cheaper elsewhere. But that price seemed to be good based on when I investigated it in the United States, it was going to run like $50,000. You know, so that's as far as I got. But I'm still looking into it, and we'll probably have more information in the coming weeks.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for the encouragement, Verna. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Thank you. Lisa Jane.
I'm sorry, my name's giving you so much trouble.
I can't remember Lisa or Liza.
They call me Lisa over here, and then others call me Liza. It's all good. Okay, so you know, my family, we as kids, we were Army brats. Okay, so we were raised, born and raised in Texas and all over the place. But we didn't know any Spanish. We only knew about 5 words, I would say. We were immersed when my dad went to Vietnam. My mom went to Mexico to live for a year while he was gone, while he was overseas. And so I have to say, we really learned it so well. My mother also kept a tally sheet. If we spoke in English in the house, she'd take a little mark and she'd put it down. She gave us 5 pesos. 5, y'all, 5 for allowance on Sunday. We were like, woo, so happy. And, we're 6 kids, 5 kids at the time. It was like, that's big money now. I know. Because she would take off 20 centavos anytime that we would speak in English. We'd go sneak around and then get each other mad, and then Mama, Lisa habló en inglés. So then just want to sock your sister. But anyway, immersion works like nothing else. It's amazing. And when you're older, like I was in 8th grade, so I kept all my English and learned my Spanish really fluently because I was in school. For my youngest sister, she was in kindergarten. She lost her English entirely during that 1 year. And then she lost her Spanish the next year when she went back, and we went back to the States. We were over at Fort Hood, and she had to learn English again. And so, but that was because of her age. That was her age. You're still real imprintable. So if you have kids that you're bringing, that's something to think about. But I mean, as long as you're keeping it up at home, you won't, you're not going to lose it. Like they're all now fluent in both. The ones that struggled for a couple of years as adults, they're all good. And by the way, I put in the chat access to the link to that Lakeside medical group that they're out of Ajijic and Lake Chapala. They probably have better services over there, but they're associated with, and one of the girls who's on here, was it Carolina? That they have emergency service here at Star Hospital, and it's free to join them, and you just pay a small amount, and she could give more information on that, by the way. Okay, and then of course they also had a link from them for if you have TRICARE or Medicare Advantage to be able for them. They look at what you have and they tell you whether or not you can use it over here. So, okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I've been
It's
wondering.
amazing here.
Yes, absolutely. I've been wondering about immersion, and after hearing what you just said, I think I might jump in an immersion program myself.
I was thinking of doing something with people, because I mean, I already lived through it, but it's one of those things I need to talk to you about setting up a business with it that I need to have a little conference time with you. But anyhow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely talk. We'll definitely talk for
Okay,
sure.
okay. Well,
Thank
contact me. Okay. Anyway, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Steve Baptiste.
Baptiste. Hi, Cortez. It's my first name is Charmaine. I'm in Toronto.
Hey.
How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Thanks. Just wondering, I've been in Toronto. I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago, living in Toronto for like 51 years. Anxious to get back to the warm climate. And I was just wondering, I've been researching Merida. I've been looking at your videos. I thank you so much for everything that you're doing. But I just wanted to know, is it better to start the process here in Toronto as opposed to going to Mexico and then starting it there for the,
Yes.
What do you
So
think?
depending on so ideally the requirements require you to start the residency process from your home country. So in your case, Canada would be it. Now, I don't know have you been to Mexico before?
No, I've never been to Mexico.
Okay. And the reason I asked was to see, because there are a couple of ways to make it work. But in your case, if you haven't been to Mexico, you'll need to start the residency process with a Mexican consulate in Canada.
Okay.
So you'll have to start the process there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Grant, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask either you or Robert, do either of you know of anybody who's dealing with diabetes down there? And if so, how are they managing it? Is it going okay for them? Since you can't have the healthcare insurance with a pre-existing condition.
Robert?
My brother-in-law he's a diabetic, and we're dealing with it, out of pocket.
And everything's going fine. And what are those costs? I know obviously they're less down there, but it must not be cost prohibitive. I mean, it's totally manageable.
Yeah. Right now, we're dealing with some other medications that he have to get that have skyrocketed in price, but it's more than what we'd like to pay, but it's still manageable.
Of course. Okay, that's good to hear. And then Robert, on your house that you're working on right now, is that one also in Central, or did you decide to go somewhere else?
It's let me see, where is it at? Where is it at, Cortez? Northeast?
The new place?
I think you guys live northwest, right?
Yeah, we're northeast.
Okay, well, I'm northwest then. I'm just north of Central, inside of Merida.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. Good enough. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And also, I'm a type 2 diabetic. And they took me off my medication because, of course, when I first got here, I was doing a lot of walking, making all those videos, walking these streets 8 hours a day. But now that I've been in that rental car, I haven't been doing as much walking. And so my blood sugar levels have kind of gone back up a little bit. So saying all that to say, the medication, that I buy, metformin. I mean, it's like $3. Getting blood work here is very, very cheap. So out of pocket costs for regular routine labs, screenings, basic stuff is very, 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 very affordable. Almost to the point where it doesn't even make sense to pay for insurance for basic stuff like that. Just to give you an example, I was in that water, that ocean, swimming, going under the water. I haven't been in the water a lot, and I messed around. I got an ear infection in both of my ears. Swimmer's ear is what they call it. I didn't let the water drain out properly or something like that. I got an ear infection. I went to the hospital, not to the hospital. Went to the doctor the other day. Paid 55 pesos to see the doctor, which 55 pesos is like $2.75. Went in, looked at my ears, said, "Oh, you got a bad infection. Get these drops, and here's some pain medication." Wrote a prescription. The medicine was $3. And that was that. I was in and out of 15 minutes. So the cost for routine basic stuff is very, 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 very affordable. So that is that. If anybody have any comments or anything you want to share about if you've been living here, Roberto, do you want to share anything, your experience of being here? I know you you moved here from the States not so long ago, and you have anything you like to chime in terms of quality of life, what the transition has been like? Just kind of introduce yourself.
Hi, Cortez, a quick answer to the last question too. My brother gets my Cardis, which is a pretty expensive diabetes med. So I know that when I flew back to Dallas, I ended up buying quite a bit of my Cardis here for him, and the cost comparison is like, I mean, maybe like $50-$60 for a 30-day supply here, whereas over there it's in top hundreds. So if that answers that question as well. Then I've got my parents coming in on Saturday, and of course, there'll be an order for medication for my brother for them to take back when they leave. So it's definitely more affordable here as far as diabetes meds, insulin as well. So
awesome.
As far as our experience here, I mean, we're a family of 5. We've been here almost 2 years. We got here November 28th. So basically, we spent Thanksgiving there in Dallas with my family right before, and then that Thursday, and then by, I believe it was Monday, was our flight out. We spent some time in Central because that's a pretty popular place. And just like you, we didn't have a car, so we walked everywhere. And Central is very walkable. You'll find a lot of things there. And just like you, I noticed that we got in shape, pretty good shape while we were walking everywhere. So, so one suggestion is to venture out, maybe spend some time in Central. Definitely walk around as much as you can, because walking around is the way that you're going to find a lot of places that you enjoy, a lot of restaurants that you like, a lot of shops that you'll get to know people in, and they'll get to know you. So it gives you a really good feel for the locals and how to interact with them. And then we spent time at the beach at Chilem. So we rented a house that was like maybe the third row from the beach. That has its pluses and minuses, and that's something that you guys will find out is as you explore the different parts of Merida. You're gonna see whether you like Central, whether you like, a lot of people say, I'm one of those that I was like, man, I want to live by the beach. Well, we lived by the beach for about 3 months, and I came out of that experience. My wife came out of that experience too, saying, I want to visit the beach, but I don't want to live there. It was just one of those things where you might have this dream that, living by the beach is like your dreamscape and everything else. And next thing you know, you live there and you're like, yeah, this sucks. I mean, you have to, you know, you have to drive an hour to get to the Costco. You have to drive an hour to get to go see friends, or, for your kids to, depending if you have a young family, for your kids to go and meet their friends at the malls and things like that, you're going to have to drive an hour for that. So it's definitely a give and take, and it's definitely a plus and minuses wherever you live. So definitely explore where it is that you guys want to go, and move around. Now we kind of live. Cortez likes to call it the country. I think it is also the country, just because we live outside of Merida, and so now the drive to go see Robert, or to go hang out is a good 20-30 minutes. But if you guys ever lived in a small suburban town that has everything, like I lived in Amarillo, that's where I went to college. Everything, everywhere you go, it's like 15-20 minutes. And even when your Google Maps shows a red line of traffic, more than likely that's just a stoplight. I mean, that's all it is. There's not much traffic there. It's just a stoplight, and the cars back up for a bit, but it's got a red line on there. I mean, there's not much traffic here, guys. And, thank God for that, because a lot of people are moving here. So that's another suggestion. I mean, if you guys are wanting to move here and own something, do understand that a lot of people are moving here. House prices are going up. They're building more houses, but they're not building fast enough. And there's, I believe the stat was that it was either last month or the month before that there's almost a 10 to 15% increase in the number of people that are coming to Merida to visit, to vacation, some to live. More expats are moving here. The infrastructure is getting better, and because of that, because of the internet, high-speed internet, fiber, and everything else, is making it doable for people to work from outside the country. And one tip that my brother told me was, a lot of people within your own country is like, it's expensive to live. Once you move out of that country and go to another country, it's just a better life. And you'll notice that Americans living in the United States, it's hard to live there because of the cost of living. Mexicans here in Mexico, it's hard for them to live here because of the cost of living. Therefore, you have some of the migration that's going on. My family's from El Salvador. People in El Salvador, it's tough for them to live there, so they're moving north. They're going north. So that's a common place for, if you talk to someone from the UK, and all the taxes and everything else that are going on, they're trying to move to a different country because it's hard to live there because of the cost of living. But you move yourself to another area, you move yourself south to Mexico or somewhere else. Some people are moving to Colombia, Guatemala, different places, and all of a sudden your cost of living decreases and your lifestyle increases, because now you can afford more things. You're able to live that life that you were thinking you're going to live in retirement. You're able to live it now. So definitely things to consider.
Wow. Yeah, I hope y'all took all that in. I mean, what he just shared with you, very, very, very valuable information. I know when people first get here, they tend to stress about finding the perfect place to live. And honestly, like the first place, you're most likely going to be moving right up out of there within the first 6 to 12 months. I wouldn't stress about it so much because you want to move around. Once you move into a place, you're going to see the pros and the cons. A lot of stuff you just can't predict or figure out until you're there. This is my third time moving, and now I'm feeling like, okay, this is the place that I can sit tight at least for the next couple of years, or at least until I'm ready to buy. But it took me going into 2 other houses or living on 2 different sides of town. Each area had its own personality, and and for me, I enjoyed the city when I was in the city. I liken Merida to a big small town, and even though it's a big small town, I like the countryside of the big small town, and so I feel most comfortable here. And so many options. The main goal here is just get here, and the pieces will start to fall into place. You're not going to figure everything out. You're not going to know everything. It's not going to be perfect when you first arrive. Again, you only know what you know, and there's some stuff you just don't know. You won't even know what to ask. And so, so just come out here with an open mind and just go. The quality of life will improve immediately. I mean, you'll notice the benefits of that pretty instantly. So
Cortez?
Yes, go ahead.
Also, another thing is be ready to adapt, guys. Like you have to adapt to a different environment, different weather. So if you're going to come here and live the life that you're living there in the States with central heating and cooling and everything else, and you're running that thing all the time, you're going to have a fat bill here. So be ready for that. It's not going to be as bad as it is in the States. As far as, I was paying, I lived in Dallas. So just to give you an idea, I would say my water bill was, trash gets put together with your water bill there. So it didn't matter how much water I used. The trash bill was higher than my water bill all the time. So I was always paying about $120. So water bill here, we purchased a house in September, and our water bill here is about, at the most, has been like $10 for 3 months. So we get a water bill here every 3 months in the provider that I live in. So at the most it's been $10. That's for 3 months of water. As far as gas, it's a tank up on the roof, pretty hefty tank. I fill that thing up maybe twice a year, and we're a family of 5. There's no, the house, of course, you buy it outright. There are some companies that offer loans. They're very few, and the terms are, they're pretty short. So we didn't do that. We sold our house in Dallas and we moved here. After living here for a year, we kind of had an idea of where we wanted to live, so we ended up purchasing a house. But taxes, I just paid our property taxes in September, and I wish someone had told me that I should have paid them in the first 3 months, because you actually get a pretty hefty discount if you pay in the beginning of the year. But I ended up paying about $500 for the year. If I would have paid it at the beginning of the first 3 months of the year, I would have gotten about a 30% discount. So definitely this year coming up, I'll be paying them at the beginning of the year. And so your cost of living does go down. Now, mind you, there's a Costco and there's quite a few Sam's here. So if you're one of those people that we shop at Costco, there's certain things that we like. And so we shop there, we shop at Sam's. Expect the prices to be about the same as what you were paying there, if not a little bit more. So again, it's all about adapting. Our light bill is every 2 months. That was about $130. But keep in mind that we don't run the AC every day, and we don't run it all. If anybody runs the AC, it's usually the kids, and when they're sleeping, they'll run it overnight. And our bill has been about $125 for two months. So we haven't experienced running the AC all day in every room. That might happen here coming up with our parents, my parents coming over, because more likely they're not going to be too keen on sweating all the time, or being hot or being in front of the fan. So that might be an issue. But other than that, you guys, there's always a give and take wherever you guys, move to, whatever dream you're pursuing. You're going to have to give something up, and some of those future comforts you might have to give up, but you also learn more about yourself. You also see how much stronger you are as you go through some of the things that you have to adapt to. So it's definitely a journey of self-discovery, and we love it. I mean, we've enjoyed living here. We enjoy the people. we enjoy, now you also have to adapt to, and it's something that does, depends on what state of the United States you live in. In Texas, they say that it's a friendlier state as opposed to the north. I've never been north. I'm sure there's a lot of nice states, nice people in the northern states as well. But no matter where you go, if you ever go to a Hispanic or Latin supermarket, one of the things that you might experience is that people catch you in line. That happens here. That happens quite a bit. And at some point, you're going to have to step up and speak up. And you got to shout your turn out. And so if you're one of these people that is very introverted like I am, you're going to learn to speak up, guys. You're going to have to. Or you'll be standing in line for quite a while as people are skipping you by. That's the way that, it happens here. And I've heard it. It also happens in Italy where people, will just bum rush the fruit stand and everybody's asking for what they want. And you might be standing there thinking you're in a line. Well, everybody's going to be skipping you up unless you speak up. So it's that's kind of a place. So, be ready to adapt, be ready to find your voice, and be ready to also use your street smarts because you're going to need them. And it's not to say that Mexico is bad and everybody's trying to rip you off, but you also have to come here with the mindset of what is it that you're here for. And I don't care what anybody tells you, you're not here to, save Mexico. You're not here to, pay everybody's rent or pay everybody's, light bills and things like that, because there's some sense here that when you get here, you've got all the money in the world. You don't. I don't. I was a pharmacist there in Dallas. Made a great living. But just because, I saved up what I need to save up and did all, the decisions that I made in order to be able to do this, doesn't mean that I need to come here and I'm coming here like this wealthy person. I moved here because my lifestyle there in the United States wasn't fitting with what I wanted. I was stressed out all the time. I was working all the time. Anytime I even, built up a nice little nest egg, there would be some bill or some situation that would arise that I had to pay out a huge amount for my deductible for something for my kids or something for myself, and that will wipe me out. And it was just this continuous rat race. So that's the reason why I came here. So you have to know why you're here. And so, don't come in here thinking you're playing the Sultan and giving money out to everybody. No, you guard yourself just the way that you would guard yourself anywhere else. And you guard your money just the way you would guard your money anywhere else. So, not every offer that that's made to you needs to be accepted. People here barter all the time. People here bargain all the time. People here always ask for what kind of discounts they're getting. People here, I've told people to post their rental requests in Spanish. Go on Google Translate and post your rent. Hey, type it up in English. I'm looking for this type of house, this type of bedrooms, and this many bathrooms and everything. Translate that sucker into Spanish and post it in Spanish on those Facebook pages. Because as much as they you might get offended about what they call the gringo tax, it does happen. You will get charged a bit more if they believe that you're from another country and you have the money. And everybody believes that you have all this money. And no, that's not the case. We're coming here to have a better life on a smaller amount of money. And here you can do that. You can live off of, what you get from your Social Security. You can do that. But, just keep in mind, why is it that you came here? And you didn't come here, again, to, hand your money over to anybody that walks up to you, anybody that, comes into your house to do some work. Barter, bargain. And to give you an idea, something that recently happened last week, there was a guy on the roof and he was painting the neighbor's house. And I asked him, I said, so how do you get paid? He said, well, I usually get paid 28 pesos per meter that I paint.
but these people are paying me for the day. And I said, well, how much are they paying for the day? How much do you charge for the day? I'm thinking, you know, it's going to be a good bit. And he said he's getting paid 600 pesos for the day. The guy was on the roof, like risking life and limb. And, you know, and you'll see people, you know, doing this. He was on the second floor on a ledge, scraping so he could ping, and he's getting paid the equivalent of at 20 pesos, which is what we usually consider the average per dollar. He's getting paid $30 a day to do that. So you have to understand, and yes, you know, that's, you know, to me, it shocked me when I heard it. I was like, oh my gosh. And then on top of that, he's getting paid 50 pesos a day for a meal. So like $2.50. This is the way that the locals do it. You know, this is the way that they pay people. We had a teacher that would come here. We paid for her taxi ride over here. That's not something that the locals do. They don't do that. I see people coming in to clean houses or be a nanny or anything, and they're walking a good bit to get to the privada. No one is offering them to pay their tax or anything else. That's something that a lot of expats do. I don't mind doing that. I don't want the person that is coming here to teach my kids Spanish to have to sweat all the way to get over here. I'd rather pay for their taxi or their DD to get over here. That's something that we do. You don't have to. You know, locals don't do that. So, you know, get to know some locals and you'll figure out how people get paid here. And if it's in, you know, if you want to pay that way, then pay that way. If you want to pay a different way, pay a different way. But at least you have an idea that you're not getting ripped off. I think that's all I got, Cortez.
Man, that was valuable. I hope y'all found the value in that. Priceless information. I mean, that's what you can really expect when you make this transition here. It's not going to be all roses. It's going to be some work. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to assimilate. You're going to have to make some concessions. You're going to have to, like, a little give and take. There are going to be some pros and some cons. You're going to win some things. You're going to lose some things. You're going to have to give up some things. And you know, as he said, you know, there's a better life on the other side of that. You know, but it's going to require a lot of work and effort from you to be able to adapt and adjust. That part is real. That's the realest part of this whole thing, because you're coming from a place where you've been living and raised for the last 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and the culture here is different. And you know, but for those who can ride it out, I mean, for me, it's the best decision ever. But I've seen other people come here, and within 2 to 3 weeks, after they done sold all their stuff back in the States, 3-4 weeks later, they hopping on the plane and flying back to the States, having to start all over again because they just could not adapt and adjust. They just didn't have the patience to see this thing through. You know, so what Roberto described is the reality here. If you can do this, all the stuff he was just talking about, if you can adapt and adjust, you know, you're gonna be okay. But it's gonna take some work. I'm here 2.5 years. You know, the first 3 months, the first 6 months, I was excited, but it was a lot of work. I mean, it wasn't easy. I think the thing that helped me out a lot was the fact that I was out there walking the streets every day. And if I hadn't been doing that, I think my transition might have been a little bit more challenging and more difficult, because like most folks, I probably would just been sitting up in the house, not doing too much, doing very little, but walking out here every day, talking to people, meeting people. I decided when I got here, I want to put myself outside of my comfort zone. I wasn't just going to stay in the house all day. I was going to get a little bit more involved and active. And that's what helped me out. I said, hey, I'm coming to a new place. I'm going to transform with the new place. And so I put in the work, you know, so be prepared. You're going to have to work. There are going to be some days you get here and you can be like, man, I done messed up. I made a bad choice. Why am I here? You're going to want to leave a few times. And that's the reality of it. So just expect that and know that's what's going to happen. You're going to second guess yourself every day. And then there's going to come a time when you just realize, like, okay, you're going to see the fruits of your labor. And you're going to start to see the benefits. And, it's a learning process. 2.5 years later, I'm still going through a learning curve. Just when I think I got it figured out, I'm still learning. I was with Robert the other day. I ran into him at the supermarket, Roberto, the guy that just got through speaking. And we went in the store. We were trying to order some bacon. And this guy just jumped in front of us. Just jumped in the line. And I was like, I don't know enough Spanish to say anything. You know what I mean? So he just got in front of me. But Robert woke up. And he was like, oh, no. We next. We about to get this bacon. You know what I mean? And so he told the lady what we wanted. He ordered my stuff, and we was in and out. The guy looked at us, and but like he said, if there's a gap, and even if there ain't no gap, they gonna squeeze their way in and cut in front of everybody. That's what they do here. That's the culture. So don't be offended by it. Just understand that's what's gonna happen. And like he say, hey, if you don't get that backbone, you just gonna be standing in the line for a minute. You know what I mean? so that's that. Stephanie, go ahead. Well,
oh, this has been fantastic. This is my first call, being on here with everyone, and it's been so much great information passed on, the gems, the do's, the don'ts, the look out fors. And I want to thank you guys for all the information that everyone shared and the questions that were raised. I did want to just give this one last thing as a resource for anybody that has a business or may live in out and have a farming area. There is a system called Skywell. And what Skywell does is that anything that has, if your air has 27% relative humidity, it will collect the air, and over the atmospheric water generator, it will create water for you. It filters it, it reserves it for you. And so just as a future reference for when somebody's ever in that position, because I heard conversations tonight about the waters being undrinkable. And since you're using solar, I love sustainability. Skywell is a great unit for people who, I would say businesses, because of the cost of it, they do have smaller units, but it collects water from the atmosphere and is drinkable. So that's just a tidbit note for future reference.
Thank you, Stephanie. I will definitely post that in the members group as well. Appreciate it. Mr. Ferrell, did you have anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, when you come here, or at least what I have noticed anyway, the people that come here, they seem to be a lot more friendlier than what they probably would have been in the US. Because I've talked to people that were from New York, and when we're walking with them in the park and everything, they just seem to be super friendly. I say, now, did you talk like this when you was back in New York? No, sir. In New York, everybody just keep their head looking straight and they don't say nothing to nobody. So not only are people here that live here, that are from here, friendlier, the people that come here seem to be a little bit more friendlier. So don't be afraid to talk and, say hello to people and, because if you, again, Cortez said this once before, but if you don't start making friends and start meeting people, then you're going to be back in the US because it can get lonely out here. That's all I had to say. Oh, another thing I want to say, I enjoyed all of you guys, all your questions, but I'm going to have to let you guys go. I'm going to go to Dairy Queen and get me a banana split. See you guys later. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you,
All
Robert.
right.
We appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody have any other questions or feedback? You could just jump in and share your experiences if you've been here for a while, any tips or whatever. Go ahead, Eventia.
Yes, hello. And first of all, really appreciate this call. Was really fun, really informative. And again, my accent, I'm French, so you can hear my accent when I'm going to speak in English. So I just want to say that, like Robert said, and Roberto, and all of you, when you are, because I went to Mexico for 6 months, I was there alone. And I think you have to find a balance between being alone and being with people. If you only rely with groups, Facebook groups, and one day there's nothing to do, you might find like you will feel lonely or something like that. So you need to find a balance to do your own stuff on your own, going out, even go for a drink alone, and then also going for activities with other people. But you have to be really comfortable to be alone, and not always waiting for people to go out. Because if you do that, it might be really difficult for you. But for me, I think Mexico, it's really, the fact that it's really always nice outside. You just go for a walk and people are very nice. And at first, I was a bit hesitant to do Facebook group because a lot of people are from US and I'm not. I'm good in English to talk, but sometimes the fact that I'm having an accent, I was like, oh my God, I know the people from the US are a bit like have a big character. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to fit in or not. So, but actually, very nice people. Everybody was nice. So I was like, not surprised, but I was like, very happy for that, because after that I felt comfortable to go out with people, and but I was also comfortable to do my stuff alone. So that's what I wanted to say. And I'm coming back by the end of October.
Awesome. Thank you. Your accent is not bad at all, and your English is flawless.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for commenting and sharing. Like I said, y'all have gotten a lot of feedback and advice and tips from a lot of people tonight. I hope y'all wrote them down or come back and watch the replay of this thing. And 'cause everything that everybody has shared is super valuable. It'll help your learning curve. It'll make your transition much smoother. It's a game changer. Anybody else have anything they would like to add? Go ahead, Dr. Tijuana.
Oh, okay. So while I was kind of walking around Alta Brisa, I stayed at the Hilton Garden Inn, which is attached to that Walmart. And as I was just walking beyond that, I happened to turn down a street, and because I saw what I thought was a for rent sign, but it was for sale. But the neighbor came out, started talking to me. She spoke English, very, very good English, and asked me, what I was looking for, and really just kind of offered to help. I was so surprised by it because, if that was here, they probably would have called the police on me for trespassing. But she took my number, texted me since I've been back, and just kind of just checking in with me, to see if there would still be a need. Now, I'd already made up in my mind that once she reached back to me, I was just going to talk to you and maybe even connect you guys, because she seemed like she wanted to maybe support us coming over, or knew of people who had properties and we're looking to lease them out to us. So I'll make that connection when she gets back to me. She's supposed to reach back around the first week of October. So when I get that, I'll get that to you.
Awesome.
But very nice lady. Yes, very, very nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the people here are very welcoming, very, very friendly, very nice. And I know one of the things I tend to do, and I've always done this at home when I was in the States, is I'm a foodie. I like to eat. And so we'll go to all these restaurants particularly mom and pop type stuff. Typically stay away from chains for the most part. But once I found my favorite ones, I would go to the same spot religiously. And, so I do the same thing here. And when you do that, you're seeing the same person, the same waiter or the same waitress in the store or in the restaurant. And now these little conversations are starting to go a little deeper. You're starting to create friendship, and that's how you meet people. So there's 3 places I go to religiously, at least 3 to 4 days a week. There's this Fruitera that I go to. This guy, they makes these fresh juices. They have all these fruits and vegetables. I go there maybe 4 or 5 days a week. I go in and just buy 2 mangoes or juice, and we talk. He speaks Spanish, and he's actually helping me out with my Spanish because I'm going there every day, and he's trying to practice his English. I'm trying to practice my Spanish. Same thing at this pizza place that I go to. There's another pizza spot I found. Now that we're here, I go by there religiously, and we just talk. And you're starting to make these relationships. And once you start talking to these folks, they'll look out for you. If you need anything, you call them, you message them, and they generally have. And that's one of the things that I noticed. You will tend to find the best deals and the best opportunities when one of these local folks, pretty much, for lack of a better word, vouch for you. They're going to pass you on to somebody who's going to look after you. They're not trying to take advantage of you. They're going to make sure you're good. You're going to make sure you're okay. But you're going to have to kind of get yourself out there and put yourself out there in public to meet these people. So that's one thing that I always do. I go to the same place. Kids are always asking, why you always going there? Well, that's just what I do. I'm a creature of habit. I go to the same spot 8 damn days a week if I have to. But yeah, that's all I wanted to share. Again, anybody got any feedback? Any advice, any tips, any experiences you'd like to share? Go ahead, jump on in. If not, we're going to wrap it up. Going once, going twice.
I'll say bye, y'all. I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody.
I appreciate
Man,
your
it was amazing.
Thank you.
What a great site. What a great group. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. Hopefully, I'm still working out some dates with this immigration attorney and his real estate attorney. I'm hoping that hopefully by Friday next week, we'll be able to get them on the live to answer you all's questions and whatnot. So I appreciate y'all time. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. I think we made it about 3.5 hours today. I'm gonna have a recording up online sometime tomorrow, and all the resources discussed in this training, I'll post it inside the group as well. And thank y'all for watching. I'm gonna go get my pizza from my pizza guy. Y'all have a good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you, Cortez.
You're welcome. Good night. Thank y'all. Appreciate you. Good night.
Merci.
Au revoir.